Chapter 1881. After all, the price of a 5-star hotel was too high. With the relationship between Yumerin and Su-yun, there was really no need for them to book 2 rooms. After registering his ID and paying the bill, Su-yun and Yumerin hurriedly took the elevator upstairs. Su-yun deliberately asked the customer service staff for a room that could overlook the street of kebabs and barbecues downstairs. The rooms near here were very empty. Even if someone wanted to stay here, they wouldn't choose to stay here because they could smell the barbecue when they opened the balcony window. As a tasteful rich person who could afford a 5-star hotel, of course, they couldn't stand the smell. They definitely didn't want to smell it. However, this room was quite good. In addition to the indoor shower, there was also a bathtub on the balcony where they could take a bath. In this way, the problem was solved. 2 people could take a bath at the same time without disturbing each other. Yumerin stuck out her tongue and went to the bathroom to take a shower without giving Su-yun a chance to choose. It was no wonder. There was a bathtub on the balcony, but other than the curtains, there was no other shelter. A girl really couldn't adapt to such an environment. Su-yun didn't care. As soon as the curtains were drawn, he didn't care so much. He took a hot bath to get rid of the stinky sweat all over his body and slept comfortably for a night. When he woke up in the morning, he still wanted to watch a good show. He didn't know when Wang Yi would arrange for that group of boys to come. A hot bath was definitely good for relaxing the muscles and promoting blood circulation. Very soon, one would feel extremely comfortable from head to toe. Not long after, Su-yun fell asleep comfortably in the bathtub. Cool, the feeling of not being able to exert any strength was really cool. After an unknown amount of time, Su-yun vaguely heard a sound next to him. Perhaps it was because he was with Yumerin that he could sleep so peacefully. As soon as he opened his eyes, Su-yun, who was lying in the bathtub, saw a scene of spring. Because his angle was very low, and Yumerin's towel was very high, it was very difficult for Su-yun not to see something that he shouldn't see. However, Yumerin was completely unaware that Su-yun had already woken up. After she finished showering, she called out to Su-yun. Since he was already asleep, she tried to make herself as soft as possible, so that Su-yun could rest for a while. He must have consumed a lot of energy when he chased after the assassin from the Black Fox group. Yumerin thought about it and decided to wash Su-yun's and her own clothes. The weather was good now, and the clothes could be air-dried after a night. Even if his clothes were still wet when he woke up tomorrow, he could ask the customer service staff to dry them. Su-yun's clothes were sweaty, and Yumerin was also very nervous during the operation. Her clothes really needed to be washed. Just when she finished washing the clothes and was about to dry them, Su-yun woke up. Because Su-yun in the bathtub next to her didn't even have a loincloth on him, Yumerin was too embarrassed to look. So even if Su-yun woke up, Yumerin wouldn't find out as long as he didn't speak. Soon, Yumerin hung up the clothes. Su-yun quickly closed his eyes to avoid embarrassment. After Yumerin left, she took a bath towel and put it on the clothes rack next to Su-yun's bathtub. Everything was very gentle. She looked at the time. There wouldn't be a problem for Su-yun to soak for more than 10 minutes. After putting down the bath towel, Yumerin suddenly thought of something. She finally moved her gaze to the bathtub. Phew. Yumerin's face immediately turned red. Su-yun was lying face to face. It wasn't a bubble bath. The water in the bathtub was so clear that she could see everything clearly. Su-yun also felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. He secretly squinted his eyes and saw Yumerin's hand starting to move closer to the bathtub. That's right. She was reaching into the bathtub. Oh my god. Su-yun really didn't dare to believe that Yumerin would actually do something like taking advantage of others' difficulties. What should he do now? Now that Yumerin hadn't touched him yet, he could continue to pretend that nothing had happened. But once Yumerin touched him, Su-yun didn't practice the Sunflower Manual or the Bixia Swordplay Manual. He was a hot-blooded young man. It was impossible for him to resist this kind of nosebleed scene. Moreover, with his relationship with Yumerin, it was understandable that something would happen. Just as Su-yun was letting his imagination run wild and trying to control himself to not have any physiological reaction, Yumerin's hand was already in the bathtub. Yumerin used her hand to test the temperature of the water. When she found that it was neither hot nor cold, It was just right. She felt relieved and left the balcony, leaving Soo-Yun alone to continue letting his imagination run wild. That's it. Soo-Yun was stunned. So it was just testing the temperature of the water. Phew, it really made him nervous. If it wasn't just testing the temperature of the water, he really didn't know what to do. After more than 10 minutes, Soo-Yun stretched. If he continued soaking, it would really be bad. After Yumarin heard the sound from the balcony, she immediately hid herself under the quilt. She had washed all her clothes inside and out. Now, she really had no other place to hide except under the quilt. After Soo-Yun dried his body, he wrapped a bath towel around his waist and walked out of the balcony. He pretended that he didn't know anything and said, "You washed the clothes?" Yumarin was a little embarrassed. She didn't dare to look directly at Soo-Yun's eyes. She nodded with a red face and said, "Yes, I washed them. With today's weather, I can wear them tomorrow. You worked so hard for the surgery and you still helped me wash the clothes. This should be done by me." After Soo-Yun finished speaking, he suddenly remembered that Yumarin had washed her underwear. If he washed it himself, he really didn't know how to wash Yumarin's underwear. Soo-Yun thought a little too much. He looked at Yumarin on the bed again. Under the quilt, it was really... Phew. Soo-Yun didn't dare to continue thinking. He had already noticed that he was beginning to have a reaction. "It's getting late. Let's go to bed." Yumarin was embarrassed and invited him. The room of the 5-star hotel was indeed not small, but the bed was really not that big. After Soo-Yun got on, there was almost not much distance between the two. The temperature of the body began to warm up. How could these two young people who had tasted the forbidden fruit's delicious taste control? They didn't know when, but the two pairs of legs were entangled together. Everything that was supposed to happen naturally happened. Although the two of them were physically and mentally exhausted, they didn't feel tired at all because of the entanglement, especially Soo-Yun. Instead, the more they fought, the braver they became. They didn't know what time it was until the two of them hugged each other and fell asleep. After waking up the next day, Soo-Yun looked at Yumarin, who was sleeping soundly next to him, and felt a little distressed. She was already very tired yesterday, and he had to torture her for so long. Sigh, it was his brother's fault for not living up to expectations. Soo-Yun quietly got up and went to the balcony to take back his clothes and put them on. After this night, the clothes had been dried. Sometimes the dry weather in Beijing had its benefits. Soo-Yun helped Yumarin take her clothes to the bedside. Then, what Soo-Yun had to do was to wait for a good show to start. He took a look. His car was still parked in the same place as yesterday, and there were indeed many suspicious people on that street. It was early in the morning, and those young people couldn't have so much time to stroll on this street. Just as Soo-Yun was waiting to watch a good show, the light footsteps behind him made him realize that Yumarin had woken up. It was really Yumarin. She woke up when Soo-Yun went to put on his clothes. When Soo-Yun was on the balcony, she quietly put on her clothes and came over to give Soo-Yun a gentle hug. This hug made Soo-Yun intoxicated. Soo-Yun even had a kind of fantasy. How good would it be if he was faced with such a hug every morning? But he really didn't know how to choose. Ruan Qingshuang from Jibei, Yumarin who was close by, Zuomeyan who flew around the world for Sky Entertainment Group, Qiuyan who had been silently hiding behind everyone, Qinwan, who was a police officer in Xinjiang but had her heart set on him, Tang Jiu who had long fallen in love with him. There was also Yi Fala who could give up everything for him, Lin Suyin who could give up the Taiwan Triad for him, Lin Xuero who had been hiding from him and declared that she would only marry him, Gu Qia who controlled the entire Pacific Ocean arms transport route, the international A-lister Ling Jiling, Shadowless's daughter Xia Chuyu. Too many women rushed into Soo-Yun's heart in an instant. Among them, there were some that he could use apologies to thank for their wrong love, but there were some that he couldn't use apologies to hurt. Phew, it was really hard to be a man. At this moment, there was a sudden commotion in the kebab street. Soo-Yun quickly came back to his senses. The good show was finally about to start. Chapter 1882. Here comes the show. Soo-Yun turned his head and said to Yumarin, who was intoxicated by his broad and secure back. Yumarin also heard the sound outside the window, and quickly poked her head out from behind Soo-Yun. At a glance, she saw a few off-road vehicles painted with green camouflage rushing into the street. There were only a few parking spaces on the street. Excluding Soo-Yun's car, the other vehicles were arranged by the Song family to wait for them. Several green off-road vehicles quickly drove to the parking space. Such a big movement naturally shocked the people waiting for them, but they really didn't dare to act rashly for a while. After all, no one knew what was going on in their hearts. Who knew who was sitting in these vehicles with military license plates? After the car stopped, Qian Feng was the first to jump out. This guy was really good at showing off. He brought 10 people, including Hua Xiaolu and Gong Sunlong. Damn, Soo-Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He went to Southeast Asia to do such a dangerous thing, and the team only approved 6 people for him. Now he just came to pick up a car, and there were actually so many people. Obviously, this group of people had just finished their morning training and warmed up. They didn't have anywhere to release their energy. They all wanted to see what was going on. Who was so bold that they even dared to seize their boss's car? This wasn't a leopard's gall. This was a dragon's gall, right? The 10 people were all wearing special combat uniforms. They were very arrogant. All the passers-by's eyes were focused on them, especially those who stared at Soo-Yun's car. They couldn't take their eyes off it at all. They wanted to be like these people and be so impressive. At this time, Qian Feng took a high-tech electronic unlock chip and stuck it on the driver's door lock of Soo-Yun's car. After hearing the chip beep a few times, the car lock clicked and fell. It was not until this time that the guys in charge of watching the car came back to their senses. They quickly began to gather and surround the place. Hua Xiaolu and the others weren't careless. They directly spread out and blocked the more than 10 people who surrounded the car. Just here, there were 15 people guarding the car. The Song family was really generous. It seemed that they wouldn't give up until they caught Soo-Yun. Soo-Yun was still very unhappy when he saw this. If it wasn't because he was afraid of causing trouble for the team, he really wanted to teach these big families who were so arrogant just because they were rich. He wanted to let them know that they shouldn't just focus on making money all day and maintaining relationships with the rich and powerful. They should also take the time to teach their disappointing sons. What's the situation? What are you looking at? I'm doing something. Qian Feng glared and shouted at the people surrounding him. It's none of your business. All of you move away. We are carrying out a special mission, do you know that? You'll be sentenced for obstructing official business. As soon as they heard Qian Feng's words, some people began to retreat. But there were also smart people among them. They pointed at Qian Feng and said, "That's my car. Why did you touch my car door when you were carrying out official business?" This was a good move. This smoke bomb made the people who didn't know the truth really think that he was the car owner. "Take him down," Qian Feng suddenly ordered. Hua Xiaolu, who was closest to this guy, didn't say anything. He easily subdued the person to the ground. Qian Feng snorted. This car was involved in a serious crime. Very well. Since you admit that you're the car owner, then come back with us for investigation. When the person who was captured heard this, he was dumbfounded on the spot. How could there be such a thing? Then he would be too stupid to ask for trouble. At that time he would be wrongly sentenced. Then, the loss would really outweigh the gain. No. I saw it wrong. I saw it wrong. This car has nothing to do with me. The person quickly shouted, "I'm the car next to it. The car next to it. It's true. If you don't believe me, look. I have the car key. It's really the car next to it. It's really the car next to it. Your eyesight is really bad. What are the brands of these 2 cars? How can you see it wrong?" Qian Feng said, "You went to the grave to burn toilet paper. Are you trying to fool a ghost? Do you think I'm stupid? Even if this car isn't yours, you know who it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't have such a big reaction. Take him away. I'll personally interrogate you today." This momentum was too overwhelming. Everyone else was dumbfounded. How are we going to play this game? How are we going to play this game? Everyone's equipment was frightening. Seeing that a guy who just ran over in time wanted to slip away, Gong Sunlong went forward and grabbed him without saying anything. He hooked his foot and directly put him on the ground. "It has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to watch the fun." This kid began to beg for mercy. He was very smart. It's almost time for me to go to work. I still have to go to work. I have to deliver a package. I beg you. It's really a misunderstanding. In this kind of situation, anyone who is worthy of our suspicion, we won't misunderstand. Qianfeng said, whether you have anything to do with this matter or not, we will have the final say after we investigate. As soon as this was said, all the onlookers, including the onlookers who didn't know the truth, were scared. They carefully retreated and tried to prove that they had nothing to do with this matter. They definitely didn't know this car. What is the relationship between this car and you? Qianfeng threw the question to the two unlucky guys. The two unlucky guys wanted to cry, but had no tears. These people were too ruthless. They felt like their bones were going to be crushed by them. They didn't have any ability to resist at all. How are we going to play this game? How are we going to play this game? Don't try to play dumb with me. You know very well what you've done. Qianfeng said again. If you don't want to say it now, fine. Then come back with me and I'll talk to you slowly. I'll say the ugly words first. After you go back, you will have to bear something. It won't be as simple as it is now. Be prepared. Don't die in my hands. I still have to write a report and do an inspection. Qianfeng's words were so ruthless that the two people in front of him were stunned. The man who was subdued by Hua Xiaolu confessed without thinking. We were just arranged by Manager Song to watch this car. We saw someone driving this car, and then subdued him. We don't know anything else. After that, he pointed to several people around him and said, they can all prove that we are all together. They all know that I'm telling the truth. However, the few people who were pointed at retreated. They waved their hands and said to Qianfeng, No. We are not together. We don't know each other. We are just passing by to watch the show. Don't listen to his nonsense. No one would be stupid enough to admit that they were related to this kind of thing. Not to mention whether they would be involved in this matter. Even if they weren't involved in this matter, they had already betrayed Manager Song. If Manager Song knew about this, they wouldn't be able to survive. Therefore, the rest of the people were absolutely unwilling to let themselves be associated with these two unlucky people. See, your lie has been exposed, Qianfeng said. Are there any witnesses? Yes. In order to protect his life and his innocence, this guy was really going all out. Manager Song can prove our identity. I will contact Manager Song now. After that, this guy quickly took out his phone and dialed Manager Song's phone number in Song Group. This was his only life-saving straw. Once the call was connected, this guy cried as if he had been stabbed with a knife. Manager Song, we were arrested by the military. They said that there's a case for that car. I'm innocent. Please save me. Tell them that you asked me to keep an eye on this car. This car really has nothing to do with me. The other end of the phone was silent for about 3 to 5 seconds. Then he directly replied, Are you crazy? I don't even know you. After that, the phone was hung up with a click. The person in charge of Song Group was definitely someone with a high IQ and EQ. This kind of matter that suddenly became complicated definitely couldn't be easily touched. He was very clear about such a simple principle. Therefore, he wouldn't be stupid enough to admit that anything had anything to do with him before he knew the truth. This guy was in despair at that time. His boss didn't even help him. Wouldn't he become the scapegoat? He hadn't even gotten the money yet, but he was already the scapegoat. How could he bear such a huge drop in his heart? Fortunately, just as he was in despair, there was a turn of events. Qianfeng snorted. Look at you, you can't do a big case. This matter really needs to be investigated properly. That Manager Song of yours, you two can scram. Hearing this guy was overjoyed. He nodded repeatedly and gritted his teeth at Qianfeng. Yes. Investigate. Investigate that Song guy. This big case definitely has something to do with him. Investigate him to death. This vengeful mentality was really serious. Chapter 1883. Su Yun was watching everything from the balcony of the hotel. He had nothing to worry about when he saw that his brothers had successfully gotten the car. He guessed that the people of the Song family were also speculating in their hearts. The Song family didn't dare to act rashly since they could even get involved with the military. Since they've gotten the car back, let's go back. It's already an exception that we didn't go back last night. Although Marin was reluctant to part with this kind of time, she still had her job. The Dragon Brigade needed her, and the brothers in the Special Forces needed her. Soo-Yun nodded. I'll take you to a place to have breakfast, and then we'll go back. In the office of Song's group, Song Xiangxiang's face was solemn. During this period of time, there were too many things to do in the company. He had been so busy that he was in a terrible fix. The whole plate of Song's group was almost held up by him alone. His several brothers could only assist him. As for his son Song Dong and his 3 nephews, they were really a bunch of good-for-nothings. They were already good-for-nothings in his eyes, not to mention in the eyes of others. He was too clear about the standards of the next generation of the Song family. They were all spoiled and spoiled bastards. First of all, his good-for-nothing son was still in the hospital. Of course he would feel sorry for his son. His son's life was injured. This was a huge blow to him. But all he could do was find the best hospital and invite the best specialists. He had to recover his son at all costs. These things could be left to the specialists, but he had to deal with the company's affairs personally. Song Xiangxiang, who didn't sleep last night, came to his office before 7 o'clock. He dealt with this troublesome document as soon as possible and signed it to confirm what should be done. Why? Because he needed to find time to investigate this matter. He had to find out what kind of woman dared to do this to his son. As long as he caught this woman, he must use the cruelest way to get rid of her. He wanted people to know that whoever dared to touch his son must die. Phew, it was a pity that his son was really a piece of mud. When he was 12 years old, Song Dong brought his other 3 brothers to a private club to look for a high-class prostitute. Coincidentally, they bumped into his biological father at the club. From afar, she saw her 12-year-old son flirting with these messy women and unscrupulously reaching his hand into one of the women's short skirts in a public place. As a father, seeing his son become like this at such a young age, he really had the urge to beat him to death. But thinking about it carefully, didn't she learn all of this from him? Children were their parents' mirrors. Song Xiangxiang thought of too many things about himself. When Song Dong was very young, he had brought his mistress home. When his secretary sat on his lap in the office with her clothes disheveled, his son, who had just entered primary school, had also seen it. It was common for him to go to such places of debauchery. Naturally, Song Dong had come into contact with these things at a very young age. This was all too normal. Song Dong's actions were all learned from his father. Song Xiangxiang blamed himself. At that time he didn't stop his son. First, for the sake of face, he didn't want his son to lose face in front of his business partners. Second, he didn't know how to face the shameful things his son had learned from him. At that time, Song Xiangxiang did something he shouldn't have done. He began to make up for Song Dong's mistakes with money. Song Dong, who was in middle school, would feel itchy if he didn't spend 200,000 every week. Song Xiangxiang constantly made up for his son's mistakes with money, but Song Dong took the money and began to squander it. The more time passed, the harder it was for Song Dong to change his bad habits. Finally, one day, Song Xiangxiang suddenly realized that his son had completely become a trash, a worm, and a waste. In Song Dong's world, there was only squandering, all kinds of luxury goods, all kinds of famous wines, all kinds of luxury cars, all kinds of women. He lived in a thoroughly debauched world. This debauched life made him more and more disgusted. Later, Song Xiangxiang even gave up his son. He felt that the money he had earned in his life was enough for him to squander. Let him be a worm for the rest of his life. He only hoped that he could find a good daughter-in-law. And this daughter-in-law could help him change his way of life. As for the Song group, Song Xiangxiang also decided to find a professional manager to manage it. It was more reliable than handing it over to his son directly. Although sooner or later, everything would be usurped by outsiders. Song Xiangxiang felt that at least the money was enough for 3 generations of his family to squander. What if his grandson turned out to be an ambitious person, and he could regain control of the Song conglomerate? The premise of all this was to find a good daughter-in-law. A daughter-in-law who could educate an outstanding child. A daughter-in-law who could change Song Dong. Such a woman was really hard to find. And such a hard-to-find excellent girl. Song Xiangxiong found her in the song group. He had been observing this girl for 2 years. Her temperament, her concentration and seriousness, her attitude of standing aloof from worldly affairs, and so on, were all what Song Xiangxiong wanted. Because she was an employee of the song group, he had been constantly cultivating and promoting her in the past 2 years. This girl didn't show any disgusting ambition. Instead, she used a grateful heart to the cultivation of the song group. Such a girl was really hard to find in this society. When Song Xiangxiong felt that there was a chance, the girl's mother had kidney failure. The high surgery fee forced her to resign. She couldn't continue to stay in Yanjing. After hearing this, Song Xiangxiong immediately paid for all the surgery fees. What he wanted was this girl to marry and give birth to children for his son. Just when Song Xiangxiong wanted to talk to this girl about his idea, his son had such an accident. If there was no way to make up for his son's injury, Song Xiangxiong didn't need to find a wife for Song Dong. It was meaningless. It was better for him to find another woman to give birth to a son for him. Then he would use all his energy to take care of this son. He absolutely couldn't become like Song Dong again. After Song Xiangxiong dealt with the documents in the office, his mind was full of these messy things. Then he received a call saying that the car driven by the 2 people who hurt his son was driven away by the military. This was absolutely unacceptable to Song Xiangxiong. What on earth had happened? How could they involve the military in this? Song Xiangxiong couldn't wait to pull his son out of the hospital now and ask him who the other people were. But now Song Dong might still be in a coma. What questions could a person in a coma answer? Nothing could possibly answer him. Damn it! Song Xiangxiong slapped the table fiercely. The secretary, who had just walked into the office with coffee, trembled with fear. She knew that the boss was in a bad mood today. President Song, have some coffee to refresh yourself. The secretary put the coffee on Song Xiangxiong's table and put her hand on Song Xiangxiong's shoulder to give him a massage. Song Xiangxiong enjoyed this feeling very much. It was too relaxing. If someone could massage him all day long, he would be willing. But the secretary's hand quickly moved from his shoulder to his chest. Song Xiangxiong knew too well what this woman was thinking. The news that his son Song Dong had been crippled quickly spread. Song Xiangxiong had no way to find out who was the one who had spread the news. After all, he was the one who had caused this matter to blow up. Now this woman must want to give birth to a child for him. President Song, I think you should really relax more. Don't think too much about things that will give you a headache. The secretary said. Wait for me to lock the door. I will come back to give you a good rest. Get out. Song Xiangxiong said weakly. How could he still be in the mood now? The secretary was stunned. This was not the Song Xiangxiong she knew. Song Xiangxiong was an old pervert. Everyone in the Song's group knew this. They also knew that the father and son were both like this. One was learning from the other. Who knew what Song Xiangxiong was thinking now? How could he refuse the request she made? I said get out. Song Xiangxiong repeated again. The secretary took a deep breath. She could only nod apologetically. Yes, President Song. If you need anything, call me. I will be outside. Song Xiangxiong waved his hand impatiently. Go away. Chapter 1884. Song Xiangxiong's mind was in a mess, and he seemed particularly anxious. He really couldn't figure out how this matter could have anything to do with the people in the army. Just as he was in a mess and didn't know who to call to ask about this problem, his phone rang again. It was his business partner, President Chen. After all, it was a big deal, and Song Xiangxiong had to deal with it personally. He tried his best to calm himself down. After picking up President Chen's call, Song Xiangxiong's mind quickly calmed down. After all, he was a businessman, and what he needed to do was to deal with business matters properly. After discussing what needed to be discussed, President Chen invited Song Xiangxiong to sit down for a cup of tea and deal with the contract properly. If it were any other day, Song Xiangxiong would definitely deal with this kind of thing himself. However, he really wasn't in the mood today. He could only apologetically decline President Chen's invitation and arrange for other senior leaders in the group to deal with it. After hanging up the call with President Chen, Song Xiangxiong didn't even have time to drink the coffee in his cup before another call came in. This time, it was a call from his subordinate at the hospital. It was good news. Song Dong, who had fainted yesterday due to extreme pain, had finally woken up. After hearing the news, Song Xiangxiong immediately stood up from his office chair. His face was filled with anxiety, worry, and panic. Of course, his heart was filled with hope. "I'll be there right away. All of you, keep an eye on him. Don't let him pass out again. Ask the doctor and the experts to stay by his side. Don't leave him." Yes. The andrology experts will never leave, not even an inch. "They're waiting for you," the person on the other side of the phone said cautiously. "I'm not just talking about those experts. Those experts too. The experts who will save my son's life for me. Keep them here. Don't leave," Song Xiangxiong roared. He was worried that these experts would leave because his son had woken up, so he had to give them enough reminders in case something went wrong at the hospital. After hanging up the phone, Song Xiangxiong rushed to the hospital as fast as he could. At the same time, Su Yin and Yu Marin were rushing back to the Dragon Brigade as fast as they could. Su Yin had a lot on his mind as well. He was worried about Clay. They had never heard anything about the Black Fox group before. It was impossible for him not to be worried about an unknown and mysterious figure. When Su Yin returned to the Dragon Brigade, he knew that the higher-ups had placed great importance on this matter. Faced with the sudden appearance of a dangerous person, they had to conduct a thorough search. No matter where this Black Fox member was hiding, they had to find him. However, this was definitely not an easy task. After all, the other party was not a pushover. Putting aside his identity, the fact that this guy could escape from Su Yun's hands was not simple. Although his means were a bit despicable, being able to escape was a skill. As the only person who had fought with Clay, Su Yun's words were very important in this matter. Wang Guangxiao also asked Su Yin to tell everyone the process of their fight in detail. He also mentioned the most dangerous part of this person. Su Yun's greatest misgivings towards Clay was probably his dagger. As this was a confidential meeting, Yu Marin could not participate. She returned to the medical department first. At this time, the most panicked person was probably Clay. He was hiding in an abandoned house in the outskirts. This was the safest place for him. There were many roads and it was easy to escape. Moreover, the terrain was spacious. If someone came to catch him, he would be able to be alerted earlier. He chose to hide instead of running away. It was a very smart decision because he was not sure if all the major exits in Yanjing had been sealed. If the opponent he met was really the person he guessed, he would definitely be secretly wanted. Clay was very regretful. He regretted that he came to Huaxia because of Song Bei. This damn place. The organization had repeatedly emphasized that one should not cause trouble in Huaxia. It was very difficult to deal with trouble in Huaxia. But now Clay had no way to escape. He had to ask for the organization's help. Otherwise, how could he escape alone? Yesterday, the person who fought with him almost made him fall. If he were to be hunted, he would be dead for sure. After thinking for a long time, Clay finally decided to ask for help from the organization first. If he did not get a response, he would think of another way. When Clay contacted the organization and roughly explained the situation, the organization's reaction was very strong. "Clay, you are a mature person and a talent that the organization focuses on cultivating. You actually did such a brainless thing. Huaxia is a forbidden area for our Black Fox group. At least it is a forbidden area for us now. You know what it means to enter this forbidden area. Now that something has happened, you ask the organization to save you. Give me a reason." The person on the phone said slowly. Clay frowned. He could not understand the organization's meaning. After a minute, Clay still gave a reason. The organization was right. He had to give a reason for the organization to save him. If there was no reason, his life was meaningless. "I have worked for the organization for so many years. I hope the organization can help me this time." Clay said, "The organization has a lot of secret events. I am involved in them, so I think I am very important to the organization. I hope the organization can help me. In the coming days, I will still work for the organization as before." I will do what the organization needs me to do, complete the tasks the organization needs me to complete, and give everything for the organization's plan. Clay's words were very skillful. It sounded like loyalty, but the truth was not so. The person on the other end of the phone knew very well what he meant. Yes, Clay had participated in a lot of the organization's affairs and knew a lot of its secrets. If Clay was caught by the relevant departments in Huaxia and confessed everything, then it would be too big of a trouble. Phew. This guy good, very good. He was very thoughtful. He actually used threats to force the organization to arrange for people to save him. What a good Clay. He was worthy of being the organization's key training target. His brain was much better than many people's. Although he was a guy who could not live without a dagger, his brain was the reason why the organization took a fancy to him. The person on the other end of the phone laughed. This laughter made Clay feel that he did not have any confidence. He could not figure out what the organization meant. After a pause, the person on the other end replied, "The organization will not give up on you. Don't worry. Hide yourself well in Yanjing. I will immediately arrange for people to go to Huaxia to help you. When they arrive, I will contact you. When the time comes, tell me where you are hiding. I will arrange for people to support you." Thank you, organization. Clay's heart was suddenly ignited with hope. As long as there were people to support him, he would have a chance to escape. You are loyal to the organization. How could the organization abandon you? Don't you think so? Clay was a little excited and nodded repeatedly. I will not let the organization down. When I go back, I will work even harder for the organization's development. Thank you, organization, for arranging people to help me and giving me a chance to escape. I will arrange for people, but they will not arrive immediately. In these 2 days, you must ensure your own safety. Don't be taken away by the relevant departments of Huaxia before the people I arrange for arrive. Don't worry, organization. I will try my best to hide myself. I will not let them find me easily. Clay was confident that he could hide for these 2 days. As long as he was not stupid enough to send himself to the door, he believed that even if the other party had more people, they would not be able to find him in a short period of time. The phone call ended. The man who answered Clay's call stood in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling glass. He looked at the coast under the night sky and took a big puff of his cigar. The smoke surrounded him. He enjoyed this feeling. You two know what to do. After the man finished speaking, he took another big puff of his cigar. Are we really going to save him? There were 2 other men in the room. They stood at the tea table in the middle of the room and looked at the cigar man's back with a serious face. The cigar man did not even turn his head. What do you think? He dares to threaten the organization. Can you find a reason to keep him alive? No. The 2 men said in unison. That's good. I can't find a reason either. You should know what to do. The cigar man puffed out a cloud of smoke and said, Go. I'll leave this matter to you. Do it cleanly and quickly. Don't disturb the relevant departments of Huaxia. Otherwise, whether you two can come back is uncertain. Yes. Thank you for the reminder, brother. Because of the change of computer code, the previous supporting role setting can't be found. I can't remember that Song Dong's father is called Song Xiangxiong, so I made up Song Guoquan. I will make changes immediately. Chapter 1885. Just as the cigar man gestured for the 2 of them to leave, one of them suddenly asked, What if Clay has already been arrested by the relevant departments of Huaxia when we arrive at Huaxia? The other person also said worriedly, Yeah, Huaxia has always been a forbidden area for us. The reason is that their special forces training is far stricter than any other country. The whole world knows how powerful their people are. It's not impossible for them to catch Clay in a short period of time. The cigar man's back was facing the 2 of them, so no one could see the expression on his face. However, the voice coming from his abdomen was clearly a sneer. Do you still need me to tell you what to do? Clay knows too many secrets. I don't care if he's caught or not. I don't want him to spit out things that shouldn't be spat out. It's that simple. The 2 of them looked at each other. This matter sounded much more difficult than before. It seemed that this matter really required luck. They could only hope that Clay wouldn't be caught by the relevant departments of Huaxia. Once he was caught, it would be really difficult for them to silence him. Don't underestimate yourselves. I'll let the two of you go because I believe that the two of you have the ability. The cigar man continued. Moreover, I also believe that Clay won't be caught so easily. He's not an idiot. As long as he knows how to run and hide, he won't be caught. With these words, the two of them felt relieved. The cigar man waved his hand again. The two of them didn't have any more questions and quickly left the room. The cigar man finally turned around. He was a typical Huaxia man with a square and firm face. His eyes were very sinister. It was as if he had undergone surgery on his double eyelids. He didn't look beautiful at all, but this pair of eyes didn't seem that out of place on his face. He walked to the table, extinguished the cigar in his hand, and picked up the red wine glass on the table. He gently swirled the red wine glass in his hand. He had never thought that Clay would dare to use such a threatening method to give him a reason. Of course, he was also glad that Clay had warned him and made him realize how dangerous it would be if Clay were to be controlled by Huaxia. The cigar man drained the red wine in his glass. Clay, you have contributed, but because you have contributed too much, you know too much. As the saying goes, the more you know, the more dangerous you are. This principle was the same as Huaxia's official circle. If you didn't know many things, there wouldn't be any trouble. If you knew too much, you would get into trouble instead. However, those who knew nothing would never be able to climb so fast. Only those who knew more and had more information on each other would be able to climb higher and higher. Cigar man suddenly smashed his glass on the ground. Broken glass scattered everywhere. He had an unfathomable smile on his face. This was the first person who dared to threaten the Black Fox Group since its establishment, so he was angry. He smiled because he knew very well that if there was a first person, there would be a second and a third. It was inevitable, so he couldn't take this kind of thing too seriously. It was enough for him. However, the cigar man didn't understand why Clay would come to China for such a trivial matter. He wanted to help a so-called rich family's son. Humph, it was too pitiful. He thought that Clay was very smart, but now it seemed that he was just a useless person. The Black Fox Group never felt pity for useless people because there were too many useless people in this world. Not just any assassin could join the Black Fox Group. Only the people they liked were qualified to join. Only the people they liked were qualified to become members of the Black Fox Group. It was absolutely not a place that just anyone could join. For so many years, the Black Fox Group could hide safely in this world not only because they were careful and cautious, but also because of their choice of people. However, there was one thing that always made Cigar Man regretful. The few people he liked most couldn't be persuaded to join their group. If those people could join their Black Fox Group, their Black Fox Group would definitely become the most terrible assassin group in the world. There was no other. The existence of assassins in this world had been a thing of the past. The most famous one in ancient times must be Jing Ku, who dared to assassinate the Qin emperor. Obviously, history proved that most assassins were maverick. Even if there were a few teams, it was a team with less than 10 people. The team leader was often a master and a few disciples under him. This kind of lone assassin and small team, even if they reached the peak, it was impossible to become a force that could be ignored in the world. Cigar Man was very clear about this, so the development of the Black Fox Group was definitely not limited to a small scale. Their ambition was definitely not as simple as collecting money to buy lives. They had too much to do. Their ambition was too big. The Black Fox Group's ambition was to become a force that could not be ignored in the world. Not only that, but they also wanted to be valued. Not only that, but they also wanted to become an organization better than any other organization in the world. They wanted to become the leader. This was the ambition of the Black Fox Group. Of course, for this ambition, the Black Fox Group had been lurking and silently waiting for an opportunity. In order to get the biggest reward, they had to be patient. This was a very fair thing. A woman in black tights suddenly appeared in the room. She looked at the broken wine glass on the ground and smiled. It seems that you are quite angry. Do you want me to drink a few more glasses with you? Let's get rid of the resentment in your heart. I want to drink a few glasses. As for the resentment in my heart, hee hee, I have already gotten rid of it. Otherwise, such a good wine glass wouldn't be broken into pieces. Cigar Man's face was expressionless. What wine do you want to drink? After Song Xiangxiong arrived at the hospital, he heard his son's angry voice before he walked into the ward. When he pushed the door open and entered, Song Dong was venting his anger. How painful it was for a man to become like this. He really couldn't imagine how he would live in the future. He didn't know if he could still live. He didn't know why he became like this. You want me to die? Who asked you to save me? I have become AF * king useless. I am not AF * king man anymore. What's the point of me being alive? Song Dong roared at several experts in the room. Although these experts also had headaches about this big foppish son, the power of the Song Group and the money that the Song Group could give were still very tempting. They had to wait here. They had no choice. They didn't have an excuse to leave. Song Xiangxiong's arrival made everyone in the room breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, there was someone who could control Song Dong. Slap. Song Xiangxiong didn't let them down. He slapped Song Dong's face fiercely. He really had nothing to say about his disappointing son. You have always been a useless person. Song Xiangxiong's scolding made everyone in the room not dare to breathe loudly. Song Dong was completely stunned by his father's slap. He didn't understand why his father slapped him. He was a victim, an injured person. Dad. What do you mean? If I am a useless person, why did you ask the hospital to save me? Why did you invite so many experts? It would be better if you just killed me. It would be so simple. Any problem would be easily solved, wouldn't it? Song Dong didn't have any sense at all. I really want to kill you. Song Xiangxiong gritted his teeth and said, I tell you, Song Dong, you are now in the hospital to recover. I will do everything I can to let you end this pain. But I want to tell you, don't let me down. I can still be saved? Song Dong heard his father's words. He couldn't believe it. Song Xiangxiong glanced at several andrology experts and said to his son, Of course you can be saved. Medicine is so advanced now. Women can become men. Why can't you be cured? I will do everything I can. Although Song Dong hated his son to the core, he was still his son. He couldn't just leave him alone. This was Song Xiangxiong's fate. Fate was really playing tricks on people. Why did he, Song Xiangxiong, have such a son? It was said that like father, like son. How could he be as unlucky as Liu Bei? How could he give birth to a useless son? Damn it. Thank you for the reminder. Because the computer code was changed, the previous supporting role setting couldn't be found. I couldn't remember that Song Dong's father was called Song Xiangxiong, so I made up Song Guoquan. I will make changes immediately. Chapter 1886. Hearing his father say that he could still be saved, Song Dong's dead heart finally began to burn. Although he had only been awake for less than an hour, this 1 hour was like a year of torture to him. The first thing he felt when he woke up was that his lower body was completely numb. The hysterical fear made him completely fall into the abyss. He didn't know what was the point of a man living in this world if he was disabled. No matter whether others could live or not, he definitely couldn't live. Dad, you must save me. You have to save me no matter what. I can't become a disabled person. I can't live like this. In Song Dong's eyes, his father was his last life-saving straw. From childhood to adulthood, no matter what he did, his father could always make up for it. Perhaps in this world, the man he called father for more than 20 years was omnipotent. Yes, that's right, his father was omnipotent. Even if he was disabled, he could still restore his masculinity. He had to believe that his father had the ability to make him a complete man again. I'll try my best. Song Xiangxiong certainly would try his best. This was his only son. It was obviously difficult for him to have another son at his age. Although there was a certain possibility, it was very unlikely. After all, his body had been hollowed out by wine and women for so many years. If he could have another son at his age, whether the son was his or not was still to be considered. These were all factors that Song Xiangxiong had to consider. After all, his son's situation was very bad. No one could be sure what would happen in the end. Song Xiangxiong glanced at the experts. These people were his last hope. Experts, I really have to beg you for this matter. I don't care how much money it costs. As long as it can make my son better, I won't hesitate. Manager Song, we will do our best. However, we can't give you any absolute guarantees on this matter. I understand. Song Xiangxiong nodded. What do you mean by you can't guarantee? If you can't guarantee, what are you doing here? As soon as Song Dong heard that there was no guarantee, he flew into a rage. Dad, these guys are all quacks. They are all deceiving quacks. I want a better doctor. I want a famous doctor who can guarantee my complete recovery. Song Xiangxiong really didn't know how to reassure his son. This was already the most famous expert in the country he could find. If they were helpless, he would go around the world to find famous doctors in this field. In fact, these experts knew that the possibility of this guy recovering was very slim. It could be said that there was not even a 1 in 10,000 chance. That thing was completely useless. Just like the bones of a comminuted fracture, it would never be complete. The only theory was that a comminuted fracture could be transplanted with artificial bone, tailor-made, with the most advanced medical equipment, and with the most authoritative experts. Perhaps a person with a comminuted fracture could stand up again. But Song Dong's body part, Sai, with the current level of technology, there was still something that could be imitated. It was fake enough to be transplanted, but it was meaningless. This was reality, not a Hong Kong movie, where some strong animals could be transplanted. In fact, there was an expert who suggested that if there was a blood type match, and the person who could completely fuse was willing to give up his kidney and undergo a transplant on the spot, there might be a slight possibility. But who would be willing to sell it? There were people who sold their kidneys because those idiots thought that they had 2 kidneys and wouldn't die from selling one. But everyone only had 1 kidney. No one would be willing to sell it for money, right? Shut up. These are the most authoritative experts in Huaxia. They will definitely find a way. Song Xiangxiong glared at his son, then said with some distress, have a good rest. Take care of your body first. If you really need surgery, you also need a healthy body to bear it, right? Song Dong nodded desperately. Yes, that's right. He had to take good care of his body. Well, you sleep for a while. I'll go out and talk to these experts. Song Xiangxiong felt that it was necessary to talk to these experts. There was a saying in Huaxia, when there is a reward, there will be brave men. He believed that as long as the money was in place, these people would rack their brains to think of the possibility of this treatment. Song Xiangxiong personally drove the 3 experts to a high-end tea house and ordered a pot of good pu'er tea. After drinking a cup of tea, the 3 experts expressed that they would do their best to cure Song Dong without any hesitation. At this time, a male secretary of Song Xiangxiong knocked on the door and appeared in the tea house. Song Xiangxiong asked him to come in. The secretary put 3 large handheld craft paper bags in front of Song Xiangxiong and whispered something. Song Xiangxiong waved his hand, and the secretary left. The 3 craft paper bags were full of things and bulged. The 3 experts knew in their hearts that since there were 3 sets, it must be for them. But it was really hard to say what was bulging in the bags. Song Xiangxiong personally solved the doubts of the 3 experts. He pushed the 3 bags to the 3 experts. The 3 of you, there are 500,000 yuan in cash in each of these bags. This is just a small token of appreciation. After the treatment, I will give you 20 times this amount to express my gratitude. Phew. 500,000 yuan without doing anything. 10 million yuan after the treatment. That was 20 such craft paper bags. The whole table was not full. The 3 experts were shocked. This was Song Xiangxiong's purpose. Otherwise, he would not ask for cash. If it was a card, it would not be much at all. But the cash could be seen clearly. This amount of money was nothing to Song Xiangxiong. If his son could recover, he would accept 50 million or even 100 million yuan, let alone 10 million yuan. President Song, you can't do this. We are doctors. That's what we should do. It's our responsibility. Song Xiangxiong shook his head. I know your responsibility. But this is my intention. And it's the same as your responsibility. I have to express my intention. You have to take this today. After the treatment, I will definitely fulfill my promise. I, Song Xiangxiang, will do what I say. With such a great temptation, no one would be able to resist it. 10 million yuan. Although they were experts, they still had to perform countless surgeries to earn this amount of money. In this society where everything was based on material things, who would say no to money? Come, let's drink tea first. Let's not talk about this. Song Xiangxiang personally poured tea for the three experts. The three experts were flattered. Although they were experts that ordinary people could not even register as experts, in front of a rich person like Song Xiangxiang, they were nothing. The Dragon Brigade had an entire day of meetings regarding the Black Fox Group members' appearance in Huaxia. They needed to analyze the reason for the Black Fox Group members' appearance, whether the Black Fox Group members had companions, and where the Black Fox Group members were hiding. After all the routes out of Yanjing were blocked. They would not let anyone escape easily. At the end of this super meeting, Su Yin was so hungry that his stomach was growling. He didn't even get to eat lunch. Wan Zhen treated this matter very seriously. Of course, Su Yin could understand. After all, at one leader's age, he could only work for 3 to 5 years at most. He would retire sooner or later. During the last period of his leadership of the Dragon God Special Operations Group, he would not allow such a huge danger to appear in Huaxia, especially in Yanjing. I don't need to say more about the mysteries of the Black Fox Group. Now, all I can say is that you must keep your eyes open. Don't miss any corner that could possibly be hiding. I'll give you 48 hours. No matter what, you must find this Black Fox Group member. Wan Guangxiao finally gave the order. 48 hours. The entire Dragon Brigade was mobilized just to find this person. To be honest, it did not sound difficult. However, with so many people in Yanjing, it was really not easy. Moreover, the opponent was a member of the Black Fox Group. It would be difficult for them to find him. Phew. Su Yin felt a headache coming on. This matter was really difficult. It wasn't that he wasn't confident, but Su Yin was all too clear about how cunning his opponent was. Finding this person within 48 hours wasn't just based on confidence and ability, but also a certain amount of luck. If he didn't have this luck, he definitely wouldn't be able to find Clay so easily. Alright, I've made it very clear. Now everyone take action. Bring your team members. Start a citywide search. Wan Guangxiao made the decision. Chapter 1887. It had been a long time since the Dragon Brigade carried out a citywide search, but this was the responsibility of the Dragon Brigade. When a dangerous person was beyond the police's ability to deal with, they would never let anyone take part in the sacrifice of innocents. For civil cases, there were police, criminal cases, and special forces. Generally speaking, a city's security would be very good in all aspects. However, when faced with an assassin from a mysterious organization, a person who could escape from Su Yun, the police could not be involved in this matter. After fully equipping, Wang Yi gathered all the captains of the 8 special forces teams. Of course, the captain of Dragon's Fury was now Su Yun's. After all, Su Yun wasn't in charge of the Dragon Brigade for a long time. But in this situation, Su Yun had to be part of the team. This made Hua Leitang feel a little awkward. He was a little hesitant, but he still came. But after he came, he said, "Since Yanlong is here, I'll listen to Yanlong's orders." After saying that, Hua Leitang wanted to return to the team. Actually, this wasn't an emotional decision. It was a rational decision. Once Su Yun was here, the brothers of the Dragon Fury team would definitely listen to his orders without hesitation. This was a habit that couldn't be changed. If he still wanted to get involved, he might as well make things clear and become a member of the team. He was used to following Su Yun's orders anyway, because he would always lead them to victory. "Stop. You're now the captain of the Dragon's Fury Special Forces. You have to stay," Wang Yi said sternly. "As a captain, are you trying to shirk your responsibility?" "No. I won't shirk my responsibility." Hua Leitang quickly stood at attention and said seriously, "I'm just doing this for the Dragon's Fury Special Forces team, to complete the mission more efficiently. In Dragon's Fury, Yanlong is our captain forever. Since he's here, I hope to hand over the command to him and let Captain Yanlong lead us to complete the most difficult mission." Wang Yi nodded. Well said, very well said. But remember clearly that you are now the captain of the Dragon's Fury Special Forces. Not Yinlong or Su Yin. Do you understand? Understood. Huolei Tang said loudly. He didn't mean anything else. He believed that Wang Yi also knew that he really didn't think too much about other things. Logically speaking, with Su Yin around, it was a good thing for him to hand over the command of Dragon's Fury to Su Yin. It wouldn't embarrass the leaders and Su Yin, and it wouldn't make things difficult for the brothers. Only he would be slightly embarrassed in front of the other captains of the special forces. You're very good. You have the ability to lead our Dragon Fury team. Su Yin also gave Huolei Tang the greatest support and encouragement. Huolei Tang nodded. He obeyed the order. Everyone listen up. This mission is a test for us. In the face of unknown danger, we must use our strongest means. Wang Yi said, for this mission, all of us will participate in it. The goal is to end this unknown danger in the shortest time possible. Yes. Everyone replied loudly. The captains of the 8 special forces were all elites of the country's special forces. With their individual abilities, they could definitely be called the king of soldiers. As for Su Yin, who wasn't part of the 8, he seemed to be in an awkward position. After all, the Dragon Brigade didn't have a 9th Special Forces team. For this mission, we will investigate from the center of Yanjing. On the basis of ensuring the safety of the center, we will conduct a carpet search in 8 directions. No matter which team discovers a suspicious target, arrest them immediately. Wang Yi said, the target's opponent is very cunning and ruthless. He's a member of the Black Fox group that we have never fought before. So, you know how much attention you have to pay. Yes. We'll follow the organization's arrangements. Wang Yi gestured for Su Yin to come over. Su Yin pointed at his nose. After confirming that it was him, he walked over and whispered to Wang Yi, I'll go with the Dragon's Fury team. In the Dragon God Special Operations Group, other than the people in the Dragon's Fury team, the other teams aren't your brothers? Wang Yi asked. Su Yin quickly shook his head and replied, of course not. Everyone in the Dragon God Special Operations Group is my brother. All of us are brothers. Then why are you biased towards the Dragon's Fury team? Wang Yi asked. Su Yin was a little confused. He came from the Dragon's Fury team. When there was a mission, he naturally wanted to go back and be with the Dragon's Fury brothers. This wasn't bias, it was a normal reaction of people. Su Yin, I order you to be the commander-in-chief of this operation. Wang Yi said, the 8 special operations teams will all listen to your command. You must tightly control all operations in your hands. You must know everything. Because you are the only one among us who has fought with the Black Fox group members. Su Yin suddenly realized. So that's how it is. In the past, Wang Yi was usually responsible for commanding the overall situation. His calmness and composure were the basic guarantee that every mission could be completed smoothly. For a long time, many people had ignored Wang Yi's role. They didn't know that when facing any large-scale mission, he was the real hero behind the scenes. Me? Can I do it? Su Yin was really a little worried that he couldn't do it. It wasn't that he was modest, nor was it that he didn't dare to take responsibility. It was that he didn't have the experience of commanding the overall situation. It was definitely a big challenge for Su Yin to mobilize 8 special operations teams at once. Of course you can. Wang Yi said, Su Yin, don't belittle yourself. If you can't lead this mission, then no one can. Moreover, to be honest, Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi also had a headache cultivating the next generation of successors. In the Dragon God Special Operations Group, each of the captains of the 8 special operations teams was so excellent. None of them was better than the other. They were brothers, but they were also not convinced of each other's superiority. This was a very normal phenomenon. The leaders of these special operations teams were born with the domineering aura of a soldier king. Each of them had an idea in their hearts. This idea was also very simple. I am the best in the world. This wasn't conceit or pride. It was a kind of temperament that they should have. If they didn't have the temperament of, I am the best in the world, then they were definitely not worthy of being a soldier king. Who among these soldier kings would be convinced by others? It was impossible. absolutely no one would be convinced by others. They would definitely think that their own ability was the strongest. This was a very normal phenomenon. If it wasn't like this, then it would be strange. However, there was one thing. There were already signs in the Dragon Brigade. When all the soldier kings were together, there would be a phenomenon that everyone else was not convinced by one of them. And the maverick among them would eventually become the leader of these people. The reason was very simple. He could thoroughly convince those who were not convinced by him in one mission after another, in one competition after another, and in one incident after another. Over time, this kind of submission was not on the surface. On the surface, they were definitely not convinced, but in their hearts, they were really convinced. And this maverick in the Dragon Brigade was Su Yun. No one could replace Su Yun's position in the hearts of these captains. If it were anyone else leading this mission, they would not say anything on the surface, but in their hearts, they would definitely not be convinced. And with Su Yun leading this mission, they would definitely not be convinced on the surface, but in their hearts, they would wholeheartedly obey all of Su Yun's orders. Who has any objections? Wang Yi raised his voice and ordered. No one answered. Wang Yi immediately became anxious. If you have an opinion, say it. Don't hold it in. If you hold it in, no one will treat you. Let me ask you, does anyone have an opinion about Su Yun leading this mission? No. Everyone shouted loudly. At the start, they did not say anything, showing that they were unconvinced on the surface. But this serious reply reflected their true inner thoughts. There was no reason why they were willing to let Su Yun lead them. It was because they believed unconditionally that Su Yun could lead them to solve all their problems. Since it was like this, Su Yun really couldn't refuse anymore. Then, from now on, everyone listen to my orders. Let's go. Chapter 1888. Facing a member of the Black Fox Group, some people might not understand and think that there was no need to make such a big fuss. However, Wan Guangxiao did not think so. He mobilized all his personnel to protect the central government, because of some of the things that the Black Fox Group had done internationally. It was still a mystery who led the Black Fox Group. After they were established, they did not seem to have done many evil things. However, if one analyzed carefully, the things that they did were definitely quite threatening. They had a record of attacking the leaders of other countries. Some assassinations succeeded, and some failed. This kind of behavior was definitely enough to make all the countries in the world pay more attention to this assassin organization. However, every time the Black Fox Group's actions attracted the attention of the world, they would disappear without a trace. Even the United States was helpless. The Black Fox Group attacked the United States National Defense Security Building. This incident caused a sensation at the time. However, the agents of the United States Department of Defense and the members of the Special Forces did not even have a chance to fight. All the members of the Black Fox Group fled. It was not known whether this incident was done by the Black Fox Group or because a surveillance video captured a fox head tattoo on the arm of one of the attackers. Only then did they conclude that this incident was done by the Black Fox Group. As for their purpose, the United States Department of Defense had no clue. The investigation department did not even have a clue. With this incident, the Black Fox Group became completely famous in the world. A team of 7 people could enter the United States National Defense Building. Facing hundreds of agents of the Department of Defense and hundreds of commandos of the Special Forces, these 7 people could actually disappear into thin air. They did not even give anyone a chance to see them. This was really unbelievable. At that time, someone even suggested that the Black Fox Group was an assassin organization formed by real ghosts. That was why they could not be seen by others. Because they were all ghosts. They were all real ghosts. Of course, this statement was extreme. After all, no matter how cautious the Black Fox Group was, they still gave themselves away on the countless surveillance devices of the United States Department of Defense. Anyone who could be photographed was definitely a living person. The real ghosts wouldn't be photographed. If they were really ghosts, it would not prove anything. It was because they were human that they proved how terrifying they were. It seemed that the people from the Black Fox Group did not do anything to harm the United States in the National Defense Building. However, their actions seemed to be warning the world of their existence, and announcing their strength. Moreover, even if the U.S. Department of Defense suffered any losses, or if some confidential documents were stolen, it was impossible for them to tell the whole world the truth. Firstly, they were afraid of losing face. Secondly, a lot of their information had been stolen. This was definitely a security breach for the U.S. The fewer people who knew about this, the better. At that time, the United States even suspected that the Black Fox Group was made up of Huasia's special forces. They also suspected that they were part of Russia's special forces. However, these were only their suspicions. They couldn't prove anything without evidence. Actually, it was not surprising that the United States would suspect Huaxia and Russia. The Black Fox Group had never done anything to these two countries. As for the other strong countries, they seemed to have been harassed. Basically, the Western European countries had been harassed by the Black Fox Group. According to years of investigation, the headquarters of the Black Fox Group should be in Western Europe. In Asia, the strong country of Japan had also been troubled by the Black Fox Group. The eyes of the Emperor of Japan's photo in the Heavenly Emperor Palace had been dug out. There was once a night when hundreds of black foxes broke into the Yasukuni Ghost Society and bit all the staff members there. The next day, they found that the war criminal statues were filled with the smell of fox urine. All of this made the Japanese very angry. However, they did not have any evidence to prove who did it. They could not blame humans for what the foxes did, right? However, the appearance of hundreds of black foxes in Japan was really surprising. This black fox was a genetic mutation of the red fox. It originated from Alaska and eastern Siberia in North America. The climate conditions in Japan were completely different from the climate conditions there. Therefore, the appearance of this black fox was really puzzling. There were no such foxes in Japan. All of this made many people suspect Huaxia and Russia. However, Huaxia was not afraid of anything. The Black Fox Group did not commit any crimes in Huaxia, but Huaxia did its best to cooperate with the international organization's investigation. It also cooperated with the international organization's request to fully investigate the Black Fox Group. There was no need for the international organization to say anything. Huaxia would do its best to follow up on this matter. After all, this situation was very important. This was a terrifying threat to all the countries and people in the world. As for Russia, their answer was very strong. They said that even if they wanted to go to war with the United States, they would not use this method to invade the United States Department of Defense. They did not need it at all. They had enough advanced weapons to fight against the United States. If a modern war was launched, many people knew that it was impossible to rely purely on manpower to fight. It would be a high-tech war. The special forces of each country were only auxiliary forces in a war. What were Su Yun and the other countries' sharp blades for? They were not used to fight against advanced heavy equipment. They were sent to protect the country's leaders and kill the other country's super soldiers. Russia's words were very reasonable. They would not arrange for their super soldiers to go to the United States Department of Defense. If they really wanted to do that, they would directly kill the leader. Why would they go to the National Defense Building? No matter what, the Black Fox Group had once caused many countries a headache and uneasiness. For Su Yun and the others, dealing with such an organization was definitely a very difficult test. No Black Fox Group members had appeared in Huaxia, which made them a little overconfident and think that the Black Fox Group would not dare to come. Now that the Black Fox Group members had really appeared, they had to be 200% spirited. Who knew what the purpose of this organization was? The United States had been embarrassed in front of this organization. Japan had been embarrassed in front of this organization. Many countries in Western Europe had been embarrassed in front of this organization. However, Su Yun would definitely not let Huaxia be embarrassed in front of this organization. He was determined to protect the country's dignity and the dignity of the Divine Dragon Special Operations Group. This was Yanjing, the capital of Huaxia. He guaranteed with his identity as the country's guardian that he would definitely not let the country's interests be harmed. This was Su Yun's responsibility. It was the responsibility of every soldier. No matter what the purpose of this organization was, Su Yun would definitely not let them do as they pleased in Huaxia. Even if it was just for a walk in Huaxia, He would take down the Black Fox Group because of their bad reputation. The brothers who participated in this operation actually had the same idea as Su Yun. They wanted Huaxia to be the first country to show the Black Fox Group their strength. They wanted the Black Fox Group to completely understand that Huaxia was a forbidden area for them. There was no return. There was no doubt that they would die. They also wanted to use this opportunity to prove to the other countries in the world that Huaxia was strong. If the United States could not stop them, Huaxia could. This was because Huaxia had omnipotent national guardians. Anyone who offended Huaxia would definitely not be let go of by these national guardians. They had to be killed. Only when a country's soldiers were strong could it prove that the country was strong. Su Yun wanted to let the United States and those so-called strong countries in Western Europe see that Huaxia was not a pushover in their eyes. Huaxia was a strong country that no one could provoke. Su Yun followed Wang Yi's instructions and carried out the search by spreading out. After ensuring the safety of the central area, they began to carry out a carpet search in all directions. They could not miss any place where the other party might be hiding. At the same time, they had to hide themselves well. When dealing with this kind of person, it was absolutely impossible to beat the grass and alert the snake. All of the search had to be carried out quietly. This way, the other party would be able to relax their vigilance after a long period of psychological torture. Only then would Su Yun have the opportunity to obtain the final victory. This was definitely Su Yun's first time in command. This was really much more difficult than leading the Dragon Fury team alone. No matter the time, he had to control the progress of all 8 Special Forces teams and ensure that everything was carried out in a balanced situation. Sun Tzu's Art of War said, "Swift like the wind, slow like the forest, invading like fire, immovable like a mountain, unpredictable like the dark, moving like thunder." This kind of control of the overall situation was the real test for Su Yun. Now he had absolute control of this mission. He had to control the rhythm in order to obtain the final victory. Chapter 1889. Song Xiangxiong arranged for 3 cars to send the 3 experts back. These people were bound to do everything they could to get more money after getting the money. The 500,000 yuan was just an appetizer. The real feast depended on whether they had the ability to eat it. The 3 experts left the high-end tea house with joy, but Song Xiangxiong's mood was still heavy. He looked at the traffic on the street. Why was his son the unlucky one among so many people? He had used all his connections to investigate, but he still didn't get any feedback. He made a lot of phone calls, but no one found out which department the military vehicles that appeared today belonged to. It seemed that those vehicles were definitely not the vehicles of ordinary departments. It seemed that he had gotten into big trouble. Song Xiangxiong gnashed his teeth in hatred. If his son was hurt by a department that he couldn't find out, then he couldn't afford to offend them even if he found them. Song Xiangxiong had been in Yanjing for so many years, and he had never met anyone that he didn't dare to offend. It seemed that the breakthrough still needed to be found from his son. Although Song Dong's spirit was still very weak, Song Xiangxiong couldn't wait. The sooner this kind of thing was solved, the better. The longer it was delayed, the less likely it was for him to find out. Song Xiangxiong returned to the hospital again. He thought that Song Dong had fallen asleep, but he didn't expect that this guy would go too far and ask his 3 cousins to find 5 young models. And they brought the women directly to the hospital. What was originally a good ward had actually been turned into a lingerie party by these bastards. The doctors and nurses in the hospital were angry about their behavior, but they didn't dare to say anything. They had no choice. This was a high-end ward, and the people who lived there were rich and powerful people. The common people knew that there was nothing else but money and illness. Once they were sick, they really couldn't afford to be treated. Not to mention a big city like Yanjing, anyone in a second-tier city knew how difficult it was to go to the hospital. It was difficult to park, register, stay in the hospital, and all kinds of difficulties. Without some connections and acquaintances, would the doctors look at you? How many nurses would be polite to you? How could a person who could live in the best ward in the best hospital in Yanjing not have a strong background in power? The doctors and nurses all understood this simple truth, so absolutely no one dared to provoke the people in such a high-class ward. Even if they brought the outside girls into the ward to play some role-playing games, the hospital staff would only turn a blind eye to it and let them do whatever they wanted. Song Xiangxiong looked at the messy scene in the ward and felt his blood rush to his head. His heart ached. Sooner or later, he would be angered to death by this prodigal uncle. When Song Shi and company saw Song Xiangxiong appear, they were so frightened that they didn't dare say a word. They immediately stood by the wall. They knew very well that the luxurious lifestyle they had now was not because of their father's ability, but because of their uncle's ability. If it were not for Song Xiangxiong, the entire Song group would not have reached this stage. Song Xiangxiong pointed at the three of them with a trembling finger and said, "Scram! Uncle, we just want Brother Dong to recover as soon as possible. We are thinking for Brother Dong." Song Nan stepped forward and explained. This was a classic example of asking for trouble. Song Xiangxiong raised his wrist and gave Song Nan a slap. He pointed at the 5 outside girls and shouted, "Take these women and get out of here. Don't let me see you again." "We'll go right away, right away." Song Bei was the smartest. Staying here now was tantamount to courting death. "Tell them to get out of here with you. Right away." Song Xiangxiong grabbed Song Bei, who was trying to slip away, and pushed him in. Song Bei hurriedly called out to the girls. "Go, go, go. Go quickly, don't make my uncle angry here. Leave now." The girls put on their clothes unhappily and left with the 3 rich young masters in a bad mood. They did not dare to contradict the angry uncle. What did it mean that the uncle could scold these young masters so badly? This meant that the money these young masters spent was earned by this uncle. Otherwise, how could they leave so obediently? These young masters were usually arrogant to the heavens. Who were they afraid of? But now they had been slapped in the face. They could only take their things and leave silently. They did not even dare to fart. The people in the ward all went out. Song Dong looked at his angry father and did not dare to speak. "That's it. Song Dong, do you know how disappointed you have made me?" Song Xiangxiong's heart was beating fast. Fortunately, he did not have any heart disease, or he would have fallen ill directly at this time. Song Dong did not bow his head and admit his mistake, because he had suffered such a big grievance. Instead, he said to his father with conviction, "Dad, they did this for my good. They want to help me recover as soon as possible. Do you have to be so angry? You are already a cripple, and you still think about women? I want you to get out of here directly now." Song Xiangxiong said, "What's the use of finding someone to cure you? What else do you know besides knowing about women? Don't you always have women around you? Dad, you are allowing the officials to set the fire, but not allowing the common people to light the lamp." Song Dong was still reasonable. "If I can't recover, I will die. Anyway, there is no meaning for me to live. Then you go to die. I won't stop you." Song Xiangxiong was really exasperated. This is the 9th floor. If you jump, I guarantee that you will die completely. If you die, I won't have so many things to worry about. Die. Go to die. I won't stop you. When Song Dong heard this, he knew that his father was really angry. He did not dare to say anything excessive. "Dad, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I will change in the future. I will be a new person. Is this okay?" "A dog can't change its habit," Song Xiangxiong scolded. "If you dare to die, I dare to bury you." When Song Dong heard that his father did not give him a way out, he became anxious again. "Okay, if I die, you bury me. You can find a woman to give birth to another one for you. Old Song, let me tell you, whether you can give birth is still a problem. Even if you can give birth to another one, when his mother grows to my age, you will be almost 80 years old." What Song Dong said was the truth. Song Xiangxiong himself knew it very well. He really regretted it now. He should not have messed around and made Song Dong's mother angry. If she could give birth to a few more sons for him, he would not have to waste time and energy on this disappointing Song Dong today. Look at yourself. Do you think your body can live to 80? And if you find someone to give birth to another one for you, maybe you will be angrier than me. At that time, you will be angered to death, and all your property will be someone else's. Maybe you can find a woman to give birth to a child for you. At that time, She will take your money and remarry. Song Dong still did not give up on provoking his father. Song Xiangxiong's heart was really hurting. This disappointing thing actually dared to say such words to him. Hateful, too hateful. After the two were silent for a few minutes, Song Dong apologized first. Dad, don't take what I just said to heart. I am a bastard. My mouth deserves a slap. I will turn over a new leaf. I will. I promise you, okay? You must save me. I still have to carry on the Song family's ancestral line. Dong. Don't let me down again. I really can't bear the pressure you put on me. Song Xiangxiong also tried to calm his mood as much as possible. You are my only son. I hope you can be well. Dad, if you cure me, I will go to the company to help. I will definitely support the Song family. Then you can retire and play. Go play all over the world. I will manage the company. I will turn over a new leaf and be a new man. Really, Dad, what I said is true. You have to believe me. He only had one son. If he did not believe him, who could he believe? Song Xiangxiong sighed deeply. Song Dong, do you want to take revenge? Do you want to vent your anger? Of course. Song Dong said through gritted teeth. He wanted nothing more than to skin Beauty You alive. He definitely wouldn't let go of this woman who had made him a cripple. Well, as long as you want to. Song Xiangxiong said. What is the background of the person who hurt you? Why did it become so big? You must tell me in detail. If you don't tell me, I can't help you take revenge. Chapter 1890. Revenge, yes, revenge. These two words could be said to be the only thing that could make Song Dong's blood boil. After being disabled, Song Dong had been like a frosted eggplant. His mind was full of how to recover himself, and he didn't think about revenge at all. Now that his father mentioned this matter, Song Dong's eyes flashed with a green light. He wanted revenge very much. He wanted to make that woman pay the price for kicking him into a cripple. If that woman appeared in front of him now, he would definitely make her beg for death. He would let her suffer all kinds of torture. Dad, you found it. Did you catch the woman who kicked me? Song Dong's eyes widened, and his flashing and excited eyes even distorted his shape. Bring her to me. I want to deal with her personally. I want her to die. I want her to know what is hell on earth. Slap. Song Xiangxiong gave Song Dong a slap in the face. He really hated his son for not living up to his expectations. What was he thinking in his head? Dad, why did you hit me? Song Dong was dizzy. Did I do anything wrong? Why did you hit me? Can I make a mistake lying in this hospital bed? Can you at least give me a reason to hit me? Song Xiangxiong gasped with hatred. I gave you a reason? I tell you, Song Dong, since ancient times, a father doesn't need a reason to hit his son. But today, I will give you a reason that will convince you wholeheartedly. Why did I hit you, right? All right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you clearly now. Why did I hit you? Tell me. There is no reason why you can't hit me. Song Dong was also spoiled by Song Xiangxiong since he was a child. He really couldn't accept this, even if the other party was his father. Who the hell did you offend? Tell me, who the hell did you offend? Song Xiangxiong said. I arranged so many people to wait beside the car, just to wait for the person who hit you to appear. I will catch him for you. But, do you know who went to get the car? Song Dong was stunned. It must be Su Yun and that woman who took the car. Who else could it be? Yes, it could also be their friend. They asked their friend for help to get their car back. Dad, could it be that the person who took the car wasn't the owner? It doesn't matter. Even if he isn't the owner of the car, it must be their friends. As long as we capture their friends, I don't believe that we won't be able to get anything out of them. Song Dong said. If they don't say anything and help that bitch bite, then leave it to me. I have a way to make them let go. If I don't kill them, my surname isn't Song. Slap. Another slap. Song Xiangxiong roared. Okay, then you shouldn't be surnamed Song. You can F***king take whatever surname you want. Get out of here. From now on you are no longer my son. Get out of my sight now. Song Dong was slapped a second time. If it wasn't for the fact that he still needed medical treatment, and if it wasn't for the fact that his crippled little brother needed his father's help, He would have slammed the door and left long ago. But he couldn't leave now. He still had to heal himself. Dad, you hit me again. You haven't given me a reason yet. Again? Am I your biological son? Song Dong said coldly. I'm telling you the reason. Song Xiangxiong said. The people who took their car were from the army. Moreover, they were special armed personnel with weapons and equipment. Do you know what this means? Song Dong was dumbfounded. Special armed personnel? How is this possible? If the car wasn't driven away by Su Yun, the most he could do was to ask Fu Tian to help him get the car. Fu Tian didn't have that ability. He could have asked the special armed personnel to help him. This was impossible. Unless it was the special armed personnel that they found themselves? Soon Song Dong was shocked by his own thoughts. He looked at his father blankly. Could it be their background is that deep? Song Dong, let me tell you. I have to determine their identity now, so you have to tell the truth for every word I ask you. Song Xiangxiong said. If they have such a deep background, they will never bother with you. It must be your behavior that annoyed them. Song Dong swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He suddenly felt like an outsider who didn't know anything. I can tell you clearly that I heard it. They are a man and a woman. The man went to chase one of your people, and the woman stayed. As for the woman, I can think of how you offended that woman even if I use my toes to think. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been beaten so badly. Song Dong turned his head away unhappily. As for the man, who did he chase? Song Xiangxiong said. This is very important. Song Dong was stunned. That person is not my friend. He is Song Bei's friend. Song Bei's friend abroad. Song Bei's friend? Then why is he with you? Then why did that man deal with Song Bei's friend? Song Xiangxiong frowned. Song Bei, that bastard, didn't tell him the truth at all. Song Dong said. I have a lot of grievances with that Su Yun, so I wanted to find a way to deal with him. I know that he can fight, and I don't have anyone around me who can deal with him. Song Bei introduced him to me as a friend. I saw it with my own eyes. He can beat more than a dozen people, and it was very easy. One person beat more than a dozen people? Song Xiangxiong's heart was a little heavy. An ordinary person, if he could fight, it would be amazing if he could fight against 3 people. A person who could fight more than a dozen people must have received professional training, and he must be talented. So you asked that person to help you? Song Xiangxiong asked. But since he can fight so well, why did he run away? Song Dong was also distressed about this for a long time. Yeah, I don't understand. At that time, I didn't know what this guy was thinking. He left just like that. He didn't even give a reason. Then that Su Yun chased after him. Song Xiangxiong sneered in his heart. This could only mean that this Su Yun mentioned by his son was definitely better than Song Bei's friend. How much do you know about this Su Yun? Song Xiangxiong asked. I have to investigate him before I can find a way to avenge you. Revenge and that woman. I want to deal with that woman personally. Song Dong said fiercely. Then I have to figure out the identity of this Su Yun first. Do you understand? Song Xiangxiong raised his voice. As a father, he knew the despicable thoughts in Song Dong's mind too well. Song Dong, I'm telling you. You better not think of so many messy things for me. I know. Song Dong was a little disappointed. But I don't know much about that Su Yun. I only know that he is very powerful, and he might be from the army. He has a good relationship with Fu Tian. I don't know anything else about him. According to my understanding, Fu Tian also doesn't know much about him. He is like a dog in front of this Su Yun. Being from the army, that was another answer that made Song Xiangxiong unhappy. All right, you rest first. I have to figure out the identity of this Su Yun first. Then I will figure out what to do. This matter needs to be discussed at length. Dad, you must help me get revenge. I will listen to you in the future. Really, as long as you help me get revenge, I will listen to everything you say. Song Dong's mind was filled with nothing but hatred. He had no other thoughts. Song Xiangxiong knew very well that this matter would not be easy to accomplish. I will not let you be bullied like this. You are the son of Song Xiangxiong. For the entire night, Song Xiangxiong did not sleep. He also did not let his capable subordinates sleep. The next morning, Song Xiangxiong received some reliable information on Su Yun. However, none of this information had anything to do with the army. Song Xiangxiong stared at the words CEO of Sky Entertainment Group on the email for a long time. He would never have thought that this young man was actually the CEO of the famous Sky Entertainment Group. This was the giant of Huaxia Entertainment Group. Did you know what this meant? This meant that Su Yun, this young guy, was richer than the father of the nation's husband, Wang Tsongtsong. How could Song Xiangxiong compete with him? Not to mention his old bones, even if it was a competition of connections, he might not be able to win. This opponent was the youngest he had ever faced in his life, but he had no confidence in winning. Chapter 1891. Song Xiangxiong was completely confused by Su Yun's complicated background. He knew very well that if Su Yun was only the president of Sky Entertainment Group, it was impossible for him to mobilize such a force to take away his car. Another very important point was that how could a president chase after someone who provoked him because of a fight? How could such an immature person be the boss of a Huaxia entertainment giant? Absolutely impossible. Song Xiangxiong shook his head vigorously. He could guarantee that Su Yun was definitely not as simple as a president of Sky Entertainment Group. Soon the person he arranged also sent news to Song Bei. Song Bei's European friend was obviously not a good person. He said that when Song Bei was traveling in Europe, he was kidnapped by the local armed underworld. This guy named Clay quickly took care of those people and killed them all in one shot. Because those people seemed to have other grievances with Clay. This Clay didn't mean to save Song Bei. He just helped Song Bei get out of danger. At that time, Song Bei was very grateful to Clay, and the two became friends. It was said that after Song Bei returned to China, he transferred a sum of money to Clay as a thank you. Perhaps it was because of that money that Clay was willing to make friends with such a rich second generation from Huaxia. This time, it was such a coincidence that Clay was in Huaxia, and then Song Dong got into trouble. He couldn't swallow this anger, so he had evil thoughts. Song Dong's evil intentions came from his omnipotent father. He felt that he, Song Xiangxiong, would be able to bear the consequences no matter what happened. Therefore Song Bei boldly took out Clay and let Clay do it. These bastards wanted to kill him. One must know that a person who could easily take care of several armed men and kill them all in one shot was definitely not an ordinary person. Song Xiangxiong had been immersed in various industries for so many years, he had seen too many things. He knew that if this Clay really had such skills, then he must be a killer. A professional killer. Who else could have this kind of ability besides a professional killer? A professional killer faced Su Yun. Not only did he not take action, but also ran away. What did this mean? Song Xiangxiong's brain spun rapidly. He very rationally and clearly told himself that there must be something going on. Song Xiangxiong was definitely not a good person. He had done a lot of shameful things in the business world over the years. In the face of a life-and-death competition, he had also hired professional killers. Song Xiangxiong had talked to professional hitmen before, so he knew that a professional hitman had a keen sense of smell. If Clay was a professional assassin, it meant that he had a keen sense of smell and could smell danger. Clay didn't dare to fight with Su Yun and chose to escape. What did this mean? This meant that he must have sensed danger. What made him think so? Of course it was because of Su Yun. Clay must have smelled something different on Su Yun's body. Obviously, a professional killer wouldn't be afraid of a company's CEO. Most of the time, their targets were people with such status. They would never be soft-hearted, and it was impossible for them to escape. If Clay felt that the price they offered wasn't right, he would definitely raise the price on the spot. This was also possible. After all, professional killers relied on this kind of money to make a living. In any case, it was impossible for him to choose to escape. There were two situations now. First, Clay wasn't a killer at all. He was just a scammer. Second, Su Yun wasn't just a simple CEO of Sky Entertainment Group. He had other more dangerous identities. Obviously, from the analysis of the current situation, Song Xiangxiong felt that the second possibility was more likely. If Clay wasn't a professional killer, he couldn't have that kind of ability. Phew. This was difficult. He couldn't even find out Su Yun's identity. How could he play with him? Wasn't this a joke? Su Yun quickly led all the special forces to eliminate the possibility of danger in the central area. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. When Su Yun led the special forces of Dragon's Fury to rest, Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu surrounded him with smiles. Hua Xiaolu said with a smirk, "Boss, where were you last night?" Yeah, I heard that our sister Yumarin didn't come back either." Qianfeng followed up. F***ck off. Su Yun, nonsense. We weren't together at all. Come on, stop pretending to be boss. We all know that. He just admit it. Why are you still pretending? Su Yun was speechless. When did these guys learn to be so gossipy? Yes, we didn't go back. Last night, the target Clay hurt innocent people. Yumarin personally went to the operating table. After we finished, it was too late, so we stayed in the hotel. There were 2 of us in the room. What could have happened? Ayaya, you still don't admit it. Qianfeng smiled cheekily. How is it, Hua Xiaolu? I told you that boss wouldn't admit it. You lost. All the sweet and sour ribs in your dinner this month will be mine. The 2 of you are good. You even bet in the team. I will tell the team later and punish you. Su Yun tried to change the topic. Although Hua Xiaolu was willing to admit defeat, he was still unhappy. He looked at Su Yun helplessly. Boss, 9th floor balcony. I know everything. F***ck? Su Yun was dumbfounded. How did this rascal know? Boss, did you forget what my profession is? Hua Xiaolu saw Su Yun's shocked expression. I am a sniper. I will definitely observe my surroundings carefully. You and sister you stood on the balcony for so long and watched us settle our matters. Do you think I didn't notice that there was someone on the balcony? Su Yun slapped Hua Xiaolu's head. Why can't you learn something? Is the profession of a sniper used to spy on others? This is my combat awareness. This is what I should do. Hua Xiaolu laughed. 2 rooms and a balcony? How about 2 rooms and a living room? Su Yun glared at him. If you continue to spout nonsense, I will sew your mouth shut. You country bumpkin who has never stayed in a hotel before. Have you not seen a 2-room room before? TSK. Hua Xiaolu stuck out his tongue. Yes, I don't have that kind of luck with women. Of course, I don't need to stay in a hotel. I think you are too energetic and lack training. Su Yun turned to Hua Tang and said, Shadow Dragon, I think you are too kind to them. In the future, the intensity of the training must be doubled. Otherwise, these little bastards won't be tired enough. Yes, boss, I promise to complete your orders, Hua Tang said. Then he looked at all the brothers of the Dragon Fury team. Did you all hear that? After we catch that guy from the Black Fox group, don't blame me for being ruthless when we go back. This is our boss's order. Who dares to disobey? If you are dissatisfied, say it now. Don't complain when you go back. The intensity of the training was already high enough. Qianfeng didn't want to suffer. He quickly changed the topic. Boss, we were very impressive today, right? We scared those people. No one dared to say a word. If you don't even have this bit of dignity, you have lived in vain. Su Yun smiled. The effect in the morning was very good. It was a scene he wanted to see. He liked this feeling. Awesome. There is one more thing. The people from the Song family are really powerful. They actually remembered our license plate and wanted to check on us. They didn't even ask around. Who would dare to leak our situation here? Qianfeng said. After he asked around, we received the news. This guy must be very distressed. He doesn't even have the ability to check a license plate. We are going to teach him a lesson. Money doesn't always work. Su Yun was slightly stunned. Asking around for information about license plates? The people from the Song family are really good. They have guts. Song Xiangxiong from the Song group. He's always so arrogant just because he has some connections. Does he really think that he can get our identities just by spending some money? Qianfeng said. Let him think about it blindly in his heart. Su Yun frowned. This Song Xiangxiong was obviously Song Dong's father. If he wanted to inquire about him, he couldn't let him do it so easily. It seemed that this matter needed to show the Song family who was in charge. I think I need to let Song Xiangxiong know that I am not someone he can afford to offend, Su Yin said lightly. The brothers all became spirited. Boss, what are you going to do? Do you need our brothers to help? As long as boss says the word, we will not hesitate to climb a mountain of swords or dive into a sea of fire. Of course. How could I forget about my own brother when it comes to such a good thing? Su Yin chuckled. He already had an idea. Chapter 1892. Boss, do you have any ideas? Let's teach that Song guy a lesson, and let him know what's taboo that he can't touch. Qianfeng said, when I heard that this B***starred was investigating us, I really wanted to give him 2 slaps and ask him if he knows how high the sky is. Su Yin nodded. Yes, we should ask him if he knows how high the sky is. What should we do? Let's go find that Song guy now and let him know who we are. We'll show him who we are, and he won't dare to do anything anymore. Qianfeng's thoughts were simple. If he still dares to act cool, I'll put a gun to his head and see what else he dares to say. Do you really think of yourself as a bandit? Hua Tang said. Even if we want to teach that person a lesson, we can't let him know who we are. If word gets out that we, the members of the Dragon Brigade's Dragon's Fury Special Forces, bullied a commoner, how are we going to answer to the chief? If the chief is really angry, he'll just let us all go home and farm. Hua Tang's words were actually very reasonable. As members of the Special Forces, they definitely couldn't be so high-profile. They couldn't be so ostentatious. To most commoners, they were invisible. Most people wouldn't even see the shadow of the Special Forces in their entire lives. If they really appeared in the Song conglomerate to bully people, wouldn't they directly make it to the headlines? Although Headline Wang finally made it to the headlines and wouldn't be jealous of them. But this kind of headline wasn't what the Special Forces wanted. Wait a minute. Actually, Headline Wang's only headline at that time was not his. It should be the international chapter's headline. Why? Why did everyone know that if a loser proposed to International Zhang, it would probably make the headlines the next day? But what if Headline Wang proposed to a loser? It would be strange if it made the headlines. What did everyone think? This time, Hua Tang definitely didn't want Dragon's Fury's brothers to be in the headlines. However, if Su Yin gave the order, he couldn't refuse. Therefore, he wanted to make Su Yin aware of this. Although he had not been in the brigade for a long time, he still had to consider his and his brothers' identities. Then what do you mean? You mean you won't participate, Qianfeng said. It doesn't matter. We have so many brothers in Dragon's Fury. It doesn't matter if you don't participate. Qianfeng Leiting is right. We can't let Song Xiangxiong know of our identities so easily. If we let him know of our identities so easily, how will he plan his schemes? Su Yin said. That's exactly what we want him to do. We want him to die without knowing why. Boss, are we really going to kill him? Qianfeng was startled. He had never thought of killing someone. Su Yin was speechless. This guy. Qianfeng, your language teacher, is an excavator, right? Hua Xiaolu was speechless. Boss, this is a metaphor. Do you know what a metaphor is? It's not really about killing him. It's about making him give up on the idea of provoking us and give up. Qianfeng glared at Hua Xiaolu unhappily. Fine, fine, fine. You're the best. You're the only one who's good at language. That's a must. Hua Xiaolu said. Let me tell you what we should do. Our boss definitely already has a plan in mind. Su Yun smiled and said to Hua Tang, I won't let us be pushed to the top of the waves of public opinion. Hua Tang nodded. He absolutely believed that Su Yun wouldn't do such a thing. Lei Tang, take one person with you and stay here. Everything must be done under the premise of protecting the Central, Su Yun said. After that, he turned on the radio public channel and said to all the other Special Forces teams, leave 2 people with individual combat ability and rich combat experience in each team on standby to protect and maintain the status quo. The rest of you, change into plain clothes and spread out to search. All teams will follow the previously stipulated route and prepare to change clothes and move out now. Su Yun's arrangement was obviously the most reasonable. Every building, every shopping mall, every hotel can't be missed. Soo-Yun said. Plain clothes are to reduce the attention. We can't let ordinary people fall into panic. Do you understand? Long Zhan Special Forces Team understands. Long Wei Special Forces Team understands. Long. All the team leaders gave Soo-Yun the fastest response. Soo-Yun received the response and ordered, "Start the operation." Except for the members who stayed behind to protect, everyone quickly changed out of the prepared plain clothes and put the large weapons in the trunk of the car. They only carried portable pistols, daggers, and other weapons that were convenient to hide on their bodies. The Song conglomerate's office building was within the search range of Soo-Yun's team. Soo-Yun went to find Song Xiangxiong only because it was within the scope of work, and he wanted to meet him. Otherwise, Soo-Yun really wouldn't have the time to look for him. Soon, Soo-Yun led people to the Song conglomerate's office building. Everyone started to work step by step. Gong Sunlung quickly started the decoding work and used the fastest speed to link the internal surveillance video of the Song conglomerate to his computer equipment. Then he quickly transferred it to everyone's wrist terminal equipment. Everyone could see the Song conglomerate's internal surveillance system on the small screen of the terminal equipment on their wrist. Soo-Yun quickly divided the tasks for everyone to search on the floor. Everyone also switched the screen to the surveillance of the area they were responsible for. After Soo-Yun gave the order, everyone entered the Song conglomerate's office building in twos and threes. There were countless people going in and out of this kind of office building every day. They were all in plain clothes. No one would notice their identity. Soo-Yun also found the floor where Song Xiangxiong's office was located according to the surveillance video. Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu were responsible for searching on that floor. Because there was no surveillance equipment in Song Xiangxiong's office, Soo-Yun couldn't be sure if there was anyone inside. But no matter what, Soo-Yun had to go in and check it out. Not only for personal revenge, but also for another reason. After all, this clay was found by Song Dong to deal with him. Even if Soo-Yun didn't have any selfish motives, he had to seriously investigate whether Song Xiangxiong had anything to do with clay if he dealt with it impartially. He was very clear about this. Obviously, it was impossible for Song Dong to get in touch with clay. He could only be in the hospital at this time. Soon, Soo-Yun came to the floor where Song Xiangxiong's office was. While Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu were searching, Soo-Yun went straight to Song Xiangxiong's office. Just at the door of Song Xiangxiong's office, Soo-Yun was stopped by Song Xiangxiong's secretary. "Who are you?" "I'm looking for Manager Song." Soo-Yun smiled slightly. "Do you have an appointment?" The secretary was stunned. She remembered that Manager Song said that all the client meetings these 2 days were postponed and left to other vice managers. Soo-Yun shook his head. "No, but I'm sure Manager Song wants to see me." The secretary frowned and then picked up the phone. "Then I'll inform him. May I have your name?" "No need." Soo-Yun reached out to help the secretary hang up the phone. "I want to give Manager Song a surprise. He will like it." "No. That's the rule." The secretary refused firmly. Soo-Yun shrugged his shoulders. "Then I'll tell you this. Manager Song's son is in trouble. He needs someone to help him solve this problem. And I'm the one who can help him solve this problem. If you don't let me see him, I'll leave now. When Manager Song asks me why I didn't come to see him, I'll say that your secretary doesn't let me in." The secretary was stunned. This guy, was he threatening her? But what he said was the truth. It seemed that he was not an outsider. "Then I'll at least ask," the secretary said. "This is my job. Please don't make it difficult for me. I can't let you in without the boss's permission." Soo-Yun did not say anything and turned to leave. Seeing this, the secretary panicked. If this was really a benefactor invited by Manager Song, then she really couldn't let him go. If this person left and Manager Song blamed her, how could she explain it? At that time, she might really be fired. "Wait a minute." The secretary hurriedly stopped him. "Then you go in. Manager Song is inside." Soo-Yun smiled slightly. "He's alone." "Yes, alone," the secretary said. "Then he must be waiting for me." Soo-Yun grinned. "Thank you. Manager Song will remember this surprise you gave him." Chapter 1893. Song Xiangxiong sat on the sofa in the office with his eyes closed. He was really tired, very tired. However, he couldn't fall asleep because there were too many things on his mind. He couldn't let himself rest peacefully. At this time, Suyin pushed the door open and seemed to disturb him. However, Suyin had no choice. After all, he was already here and it was on the way. If he didn't visit Director Song, it wouldn't be right. After Suyin came in, Song Xiangxiong still had his eyes closed. However, the expression on his face became slightly impatient. Seeing the brewed tea on the coffee table, Suyin didn't stand on ceremony. He sat on the sofa next to Song Xiangxiong and poured himself a cup of tea. He took a sip. Not bad. Rich people really know how to enjoy life. This pu'er tea is definitely the best. It's very sweet and fragrant. Give me another cup. Hearing the voice, Song Xiangxiong still had his eyes closed. He said impatiently, "If I want to drink, I will pour it myself. You can go out." Aya, what does this mean? Suyin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Director Song probably thought that he was his secretary who came in to pour tea for him. Suyin drank the tea in the cup in one gulp, and put the cup on the table. He looked at Song Xiangxiong with a smile but didn't say anything. Song Xiangxiong didn't hear the sound of the secretary leaving. He frowned even more. His tone changed from impatience to anger. "I'll tell you one last time. At this time, I don't want to do anything. Don't disturb me. I want to be alone." "Who is Jingjing?" Suyin couldn't help but ask with a smile. Suddenly, a strange man's voice appeared. Song Xiangxiong's whole body was numb. The chill of fear spread from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head in an instant. He opened his eyes abruptly and looked at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him. He roared, "Who are you?" Suyin poured himself another cup of tea. Such expensive tea leaves would not taste good if they cooled down. What a waste of God's gift. Looking at Suyun's leisurely manner, Song Xiangxiong's anger immediately spread to every cell in his body. He stood up angrily and glared at him. "Manager Song, why are you so angry? I'm the person you're looking for." Suyin smiled. "Why? Now that I'm here, you don't welcome me?" Song Xiangxiong was bewildered by this. He had turned down all his social engagements for the past few days, so it was impossible for him to meet anyone. Although his anger had subsided, Song Xiangxiong was still annoyed. What was the use of raising this secretary? He couldn't even stop a single person, and he didn't even inform him when he came in. "Manager Song, you are a big boss. You don't have to be so nervous when you see a small fry like me." Suyin smiled. "What if you meet a big leader? How can you be friends with him?" Song Xiangxiong gradually came back to his senses. He calmed down and looked at Suyin carefully. He said lightly, "Manager Su, you are no small fry. The CEO of Sky Entertainment Group is not someone I, Song Xiangxiong, can compare to." "Yo, Manager Song is indeed Manager Song. You have a wide network and know everything." Suyin narrowed his eyes. This Song guy was really something. He was able to find out everything. He even checked his household register. "Not bad. You've even figured out Suyun's path so clearly." Song Xiangxiong of course could hear Suyun's displeasure. Manager Su, you are too serious. It's just that you are too famous. We can't not know you even if we wanted to." Suyin nodded. He still had a smile on his face. "Is that so? It's my honor to be recognized by Manager Song. But why do you want to check my car?" Song Xiangxiong never thought that Suyin would take the initiative to bring this up. One had to know that he should be the one questioning this matter. The one who was injured was his son, and this was his territory. What right did he have to let Suyin be so overbearing? "What do you mean?" Song Xiangxiong said rudely. Suyin smiled. "Nothing. It's just that when you wanted to check the military car from yesterday morning, we found out immediately. I'm sure Manager Song can understand what I mean." Song Xiangxiong understood too well. Suyun's meaning was obvious. He was telling him that this car was not something he could check. "It seems that Manager Su wants to bully me." Suyin shook his head. "Not really. But if Manager Song doesn't know what's good for him, then don't blame me for not reminding you." Song Xiangxiong's face darkened. He sneered. "What does Manager Su mean?" Do you want to do something out of line in a legal society? Ha ha ha, then I won't agree. We are all people who know the law. It's good that you know the law. Then everything can be solved. Soo-Yun nodded. I think if you give me enough time to check what illegal things you have done over the years, I think I should be able to find out a lot. And each of them is enough to put you in prison for the rest of your life, right? Song Xiangxiong glared at him and scolded loudly. Don't talk nonsense if you don't have evidence. Be careful, or I will sue you for slander. Sue me? Save it. Soo-Yun said. Why don't you take a look at your own guilty conscience? Manager Song, don't deceive yourself. Touch your heart and ask yourself, are you really not afraid of being investigated by me? Song Xiangxiong stared at Soo-Yun fiercely. He didn't know what Soo-Yun was thinking. Manager Song, there are some things that I will say directly. You don't want to hear it. Soo-Yun. You spent so much effort to investigate me. What did you find out? What else did you find out except for my identity in Tianyu Group? Don't tell me that you can't find out. Even if you found out this, what can you do to me? Song Xiangxiong was beaten black and blue by Soo-Yun's words. He asked himself several times, what can I do? But if I want to investigate you, I only need to say one word. Soo-Yun. Whether you believe it or not, if you want to try, I really don't mind. I will let you die convinced and teach you how to be a man in your next life. Without waiting for Song Xiangxiong to speak, Soo-Yun quickly added, your son is already lucky. If I had been there that day, he wouldn't have just become a cripple. Song Xiangxiong felt a cold murderous intent in Soo-Yun's words. He couldn't help but slap Han Zhan. Who the hell was this guy? How could he make him speechless? There is one more thing, Manager Song. The person that your son hired is a killer. If you say that you haven't figured it out, I can only despise you for being incompetent. Soo-Yun. I can also be sure that you have nothing to do with the killer in your current state. Of course I have nothing to do with it. Song Xiangxiong was a little hysterical. But don't forget that although the killer has nothing to do with you, he has something to do with your son. Soo-Yun. I can tell you clearly that I will catch that person. I hope that after I catch that person, he will not tell anyone about his relationship with your Song family. Song Xiangxiong's face turned green. Once he gives up on anyone from the Song family, you can just wait to be thoroughly investigated. Soo-Yun's lips curled into a smile. Do you think you've gotten yourself into trouble? Are you in big trouble? Song Xiangxiong didn't even have the strength to swallow his saliva now. He really regretted that he was idle enough to investigate Soo-Yun. Now even a fool could see that Soo-Yun was going to avenge his private grudge. Soo-Yun, tell me, who are you? Song Xiangxiong didn't know why he could still be so calm now. Soo-Yun shrugged. Manager Song, I'm afraid you haven't reached that level yet. And remember your identity. You are just a businessman. You have no right to know about me. You don't have the ability to find someone who will reveal my identity to you. Boom. For Song Xiangxiong, this sentence was like the sky falling down. Yes, he had clearly realized that he was not Qin Haodong's opponent at all. Qin Haodong didn't take him seriously at all. He spent so much effort to find so many connections, but he didn't get any useful information. What about Soo-Yun? He didn't care at all when he appeared in his office and said something to him that made him unable to breathe at all. Song Xiangxiong never expected this kind of overwhelming strength. He couldn't believe that a young man could make him so obedient. There's an old saying that goes, there's always someone better than you. Chapter 1894. Manager Song, you must remember my advice. God is watching what people do. The cycle of cause and effect is inevitable. Soo-Yun poured himself another cup of tea. For example, if you don't work hard and play all kinds of tricks, you can't afford to drink such good tea. Similarly, if your son hadn't done so many evil things, he wouldn't have been crippled by a kick. Song Xiangxiong clenched his fists. As his father, he might have no chance to avenge his son. I have another word to remind you. Don't think about hurting the person who crippled your son. When Soo-Yun said these words, the strong pressure he exuded was not something ordinary people like Song Xiangxiong could bear. Song Xiangxiong was almost out of breath by Su Yun's strong pressure. She's my woman. If you dare to mess with her, I promise that even if you run to the end of the world, I will catch you and kill you. There were no angry words, just a calm retelling. It was so simple. However, Song Xiangxiong was so shocked by Su Yun's deterrence that he didn't even have the courage to stand up. He only felt that his knees were soft, and he sat heavily on the sofa. Do you need me to repeat it again? Su Yun smiled. He knew that the education he gave Song Xiangxiong was enough. No wonder Song Yao was such a person. His father was a scumbag. To educate such a person, he had to start with his father. If the upper beam was not straight, the lower beam would be crooked. It was meaningless to only fix the lower beam. If he wanted to completely solve the problem of the lower beam, he had to deal with the upper beam. After Song Xiangxiong came to his senses, he finally said, Manager Su, I admit it. I know I offended someone I can't afford to offend. From today on, I will never provoke you again. I also hope that you can take a step back and be magnanimous. It's not up to me whether I should take a step back or not, Su Yun said. That will depend on whether or not the escaped assassin will reveal his relationship with your Song family. If he doesn't talk about your family's matters, then I definitely won't touch you. But if he doesn't keep his mouth shut, then don't blame me for not paying attention. That person really has nothing to do with me. They children don't know about such serious consequences. If they knew, they definitely wouldn't have provoked that kind of person, Song Xiangxiong said. Can you give me a chance? Let's talk about this later. I'm not a policeman or a judge. Su Yun smiled. Do you really want to know who I am? Manager Song? Nonsense, of course I want to know. Song Xiangxiong thought. If he could know what other hidden identities Su Yun had, then he could dig deeper through his connections. He would definitely be able to find someone who could talk to him. That way he would be able to give him some face. But if they didn't even know Su Yun's identity, then what was the point of digging deeper? Yes, Song Xiangxiong replied weakly. Su Yun nodded. This guy was really honest. Very good. That's the answer I wanted. Think about it slowly. Don't worry. Maybe one day you'll have a flash of inspiration, and suddenly know my identity. Su Yun didn't mean to tell him at all. Song Xiangxiong almost couldn't catch his breath and fainted directly. Even if Su Yun played him like this, he didn't dare to say anything. He didn't even dare to be angry. He was still brooding over the aura that had almost killed him just now. Manager Song, you should get busy first. Get busy with business. Don't let me hear that you're investigating me again. Su Yun. If we have a next meeting, I'm afraid it won't be so pleasant. Song Xiangxiong could only nod. Su Yun clenched his fist and held it flat. Suddenly he loosened it a little. A handful of powdery sand flowed out of his hand. I'm sorry, Manager Song. Your purple sand cup was accidentally turned into purple sand by me. You should ask your secretary to clean it up. Be careful not to be blinded by this thing. It'll be very uncomfortable. When he said this, Su Yun deliberately blew a breath. Song Xiangxiong quickly closed his eyes for fear of being blinded by this thing. Su Yun clapped his hands. Okay, I should go. I won't disturb you. Song Xiangxiong hoped that Su Yun would hurry out. If Su Yun didn't step out of his office, his heart wouldn't be at peace for a minute. Su Yun turned on the radio of the handheld terminal and said to all the brothers in the Dragon's Fury team channel, has the search been completed? If there are no abnormalities, prepare to evacuate. Don't disturb the normal operation of the Song group. Soon, Su Yun received the news that everyone was evacuating. It seems that you really didn't harbor the killer. Su Yun smiled slightly. However, you haven't gotten rid of the suspicion yet. Manager Song, enjoy these days. Maybe you won't have it so easy in the future. Song Xiangxiong swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Su Yun's identity was probably similar to the super agents in American blockbusters. Sigh, how could he be so stupid to provoke such a person? When Su Yun left, he deliberately showed the weapon at his waist to Song Xiangxiong. Song Xiangxiong understood at that time. With this identity, he had the right to end his life on the spot on behalf of the country and the law. Regardless of whether Su Yun would have to submit a report or be investigated if he really did that, There was one thing that was certain, and that was that he had the right to get rid of you. He had the right to act first and report later. This kind of opponent was really an opponent that Song Xiangxiong didn't want to provoke even if he was beaten to death. Song Xiangxiong didn't have the capital to challenge him at all. When Suyin pushed open the door of Song Xiangxiong's office, Song Xiangxiong also saw the two handsome and mighty young men at the door. His secretary was already sitting on the chair dumbfounded and looking like a love-struck fool. Until Su Yun's figure completely disappeared from Song Xiangxiong's sight, Song Xiangxiong breathed a sigh of relief. He also had to think of a way to save himself. He had to find the guy named Clay before Su Yun did. Yes, he had to kill this person first. The dead wouldn't talk nonsense. Song Xiangxiong didn't believe that Su Yun wouldn't use his position to avenge a personal grudge. If he forced Clay to confess and made him confess his relationship with their Song family, then wouldn't their Song family be completely finished? This was definitely not the result that Song Xiangxiong wanted. Song Xiangxiong had to strangle all the signs that might affect his family's interests in the cradle. Although Su Yun and the other guys who were similar to agents were very powerful, Song Xiangxiong still believed that he could find Clay one step earlier because Song Bei was his nephew, and Clay was Song Bei's friend. He was also involved by Song Bei. Song Xiangxiong quickly dialed Song Bei's phone and asked him to come to his office as quickly as possible. He needed to explain this matter to him face to face and understand the stakes. If he didn't want the entire Song family to be locked up, he had to get in touch with Clay now and get in touch with him. Whether the opponent was an assassin or not, Song Xiangxiong had to find a way to kill this person. If he didn't kill this person, there would be too many hidden dangers. Song Bei naturally obeyed Song Xiangxiong's words. After he rushed to Song Xiangxiong's office and listened to Song Xiangxiong tell him the whole thing in detail, he understood the importance of this matter. It was related to the fate of the entire Song group. Of course, it was also related to his fate. Song Bei, the fate of our Song family is in your hands. What are you going to do? You must think about it clearly. Song Xiangxiong said, Uncle has never asked you for anything, but for this matter, no one can do it except you. You must help our Song family. This is also helping yourself. Song Bei's head nodded vigorously. Of course, he knew that this was for himself. If the Song group collapsed, even if he didn't have to go to jail, what he would eat, what he would drink, and how he would survive in the future would be a problem. Uncle, you can rest assured. I will definitely find Clay. Song Bei said. I will find Clay before anyone else. You have to believe me. I will call him right now. With Song Bei's words, Song Xiangxiong's heart that was hanging in the air was finally settled. As long as Clay was killed, all the problems would not be a problem. Don't let Clay have any doubts. You just say that you want to help him. Do you understand? You must give him a reassurance. You must let him accept you with peace of mind. Do you understand? Understood. I will say that I can help him get out of the current danger. I can help him leave Huaxia. Song Bei said, such a temptation is enough for him to believe me, right? Enough. Song Xiangxiong said. As long as you do this well, Uncle will give you a private jet. Haven't you always wanted one? I will buy it for you. Your brother Dong doesn't have it. You will have it in the future. After hearing this, Song Bei's eyes flashed with a greedy light. Chapter 1895. After Song Bei accepted this task, he began to call Clay frantically. At this time, Clay's phone couldn't be reached at all. After he contacted the organization, he turned off his mobile phone signal. He was worried that he would be tracked every time his signal was connected. Almost 40 hours had passed. Clay felt that the people from the organization should have probably arrived in Huaxia, so he turned on his mobile phone. After turning on his mobile phone, Clay received messages. They were all missed calls from Song Bei. Faced with these calls, Clay considered many reasons. He came to help Song Bei, but he escaped. It was normal for Song Bei to look for him. However, there was another possibility. The relevant department of Huaxia who wanted to catch him had found Song Bei, and was forcing Song Bei to contact him. This was obviously very likely. Therefore, Clay's heart must be very tangled because at this time, He especially wanted to get the help of others. Although as an assassin, he didn't feel any discomfort in the face of loneliness. However, in such a big country like Huaxia, this forbidden zone was strictly and clearly stated by the organization. He really felt very uncomfortable. Now, as long as he could find someone who could help him, it would fill Clay's heart with hope. This hope was the motivation for him to persist. As a citizen of Huaxia, Songbei knew everything about Huaxia. Moreover, the relationship between rich people would not be too bad. Songbei was a very good helper for Clay, so Clay really hoped to get help from this helper at this time. Clay was very tangled, and the more he thought about it, the more tangled he was. However, in the next 2 hours, Clay still didn't get a call from the organization. This made Clay unable to wait any longer. He felt that it was necessary to find another way for himself. It was already dark, and Songbei had not been able to contact Clay. This was really a kind of torture for him. Every hour, Song Xiangxiong would call to ask about his situation. The first few times, Songbei could say that he had not found Clay, but several times, he said that he had not been able to contact Clay. Song Xiangxiong was about to fall out with him. Songbei was so worried that his intestines were about to turn green. How could he solve this problem? If he couldn't get in touch with Clay, how could he find him? He wasn't a spy. His uncle thought too highly of him. Songbei came to the bar to drink before he even had dinner. There was no one in the bar at this time. Songbei was the only one drinking alone. He was annoyed that he missed a private jet. If he had this private jet, he would have been able to boast too much. Just as Songbei was feeling extremely depressed, Clay actually replied to Songbei's call. After seeing the incoming call, Clay was so excited that he almost jumped up. He quickly picked up the phone. "Clay, where are you?" Because there was music in the place where Songbei was, Clay relaxed a little. If Songbei was being controlled by the police, then he must be in a very quiet and sealed room to communicate with him. And there was noise in the room, which meant that there was not much danger. "Songbei, where are you?" Clay still maintained his vigilance. Even if there was no danger, he would not easily trust anyone. "I'm at the bar," Songbei said. Clay was startled and somewhat suspicious. "You're going to drink so early?" "I'm worried because I can't find you," Songbei said. "Do you know how long I've been looking for you? I couldn't get through to your phone. I was so worried. If you had picked up the phone earlier, I wouldn't have had to drink to drown my sorrows." Clay suddenly became cautious. "Why are you looking for me?" Songbei realized that he had said something wrong and quickly explained. "Why do you think I'm looking for you? Of course I'm worried about you. You haven't moved since you left that day. Of course, I'm worried about you." "Then why didn't you look for me at that time?" Clay asked. The words that Song Xiangxiong had told him appeared in Songbei's mind. No matter what, he had to think of a way to make Clay believe in him. He had to make Clay feel a sense of crisis. He had to make Clay feel that only he could save him. Only then would Clay be able to tell them his exact location. Only in this way could Song Xiangxiong have the opportunity to kill Clay and not give him a chance to talk nonsense. In this way, the crisis of the Song group could be completely resolved. "I didn't look for you at that time because I wasn't worried about you. But now that I know you're in trouble, how can I not look for you?" Songbei said. "I, Songbei, am a person who values friendship and righteousness. I can't be indifferent when I know my friend is in trouble. Am I still human?" Clay frowned and said nervously, "What can happen to me?" "What can happen to you? You don't know?" Songbei said. "You're really good. You don't know. Hurry up and find a place to hide. I heard that the relevant departments want to arrest you. What is your identity? How can you have such a big influence? I was scared to death when I heard about it." Clay felt a burst of nervousness in his heart. "Did someone ask you to investigate?" "Investigate me? Not really. With our Song family's power in Yanjing, no one would dare to investigate me." Songbei's words were big enough. He didn't know that the Song family was really being targeted. Clay relaxed a little. "Then how did you know something happened to me? How can I not know? Yanjing City is a small place. How can I not have eyes and ears? Then how can I survive in Yanjing City?" Songbei said. "I'm looking for you with good intentions. Clay, you're in big trouble. Don't get caught. or you'll be in big trouble. What did you hear? Clay asked nervously. This was related to whether he could safely escape from Huaxia. How could Songbei have heard anything? All he had heard were some superficial things that Song Xiangxiong had told him. As for the real problem that Clay was facing, he had no idea at all. I've heard too much. I can't explain it clearly in a short time. You just need to know that your current situation is very bad. Clay took a deep breath. He was very clear that his situation was indeed very bad. Clay, you are my friend. If you need my help, I will spare no effort. Songbei seized the opportunity and said, if you can find a way to leave Huaxia by yourself, then do it as soon as possible. If you can't leave, I can help you. How can you help me? Clay asked. He couldn't pin all his hopes on the organization. If he could save himself, he had to find a way to save himself. Songbei really hadn't thought about this problem, but he suddenly thought that if he could help Song Xiangxiong find Clay, Song Xiangxiong would give him a private jet. I have a private jet. I can send you out. Songbei said. No matter what, the most important thing is that you leave Yinjing first. I heard that all aspects of Yinjing's traffic are comprehensively checked. If you want to go out by yourself, I'm afraid it will be really difficult. Songbei didn't need to say this. Clay was very clear about this. He couldn't leave by himself. Even if you have a private jet, it will still be checked. Clay said. Songbei snorted disdainfully. Clay, do you not believe in the strength of our Song family in Yinjing? No one dares to check my private jet. Do you believe it? These words seemed to make sense. Clay struggled in his heart again. This was a gamble for him. If he won the gamble, he would be able to leave in one piece, and the people in the organization would think highly of him. He had escaped from the forbidden zone set by the organization, so his position in the organization would definitely be highly recognized in the future. But if he failed, he knew the consequences. However, Clay thought carefully. If he didn't ask for Songbei's help, his consequences would definitely be the latter. He would have no chance. Of course, I don't want to get involved in this muddy water. It's best if you can solve it yourself. Songbei loosened the reins only to grasp them better. If you really need my help, call me at any time. You help me, of course, I will help you. With Songbei's words, Clay's heart was more at ease. Songbei, can you really help me send me out of Yinjing? Nonsense. Otherwise, why would I call you? Songbei said. Clay gritted his teeth. Then how can I get in touch with you? I really need your help to send me out of Yinjing. Ah, you really need it. Songbei's heart was happy, but he still pretended to be surprised. What? You're just saying? Clay's heart went cold. No, I mean it. Then I'll tell you the location? Songbei said as he pondered. Then he denied it. No, you're in a dangerous situation now. It's best not to run around alone. You find a safe place and I'll pick you up. I'll get someone to arrange the plane now. Clay thought for a moment and finally decided to believe Songbei. Okay, I'll send you the address immediately. The sooner you arrange the plane, the better. Chapter 1896. Arrange a plane? Songbei hung up the phone and shook his head with some disdain. He really didn't understand how Clay trusted him so much. It seemed that he was really desperate. No wonder his uncle said that he was in a very dangerous situation now. There was a very special department that wanted to catch him. Before contacting Clay, Songbei thought that Song Xiangxiong's words were somewhat exaggerated. But now it seemed that Song Xiangxiong really didn't exaggerate anything. If Clay couldn't escape from Huaxia, there was only a dead end. Otherwise, he wouldn't believe him so easily. Unfortunately, there was no plane. Songbei could only let his friend down. Because he betrayed his friend, he could really get a plane. A private jet. This was something he had always dreamed of. Even though Song Dong had asked for a private jet many times, Song Xiangxiong, who was his father, had never agreed to his condition. Songbei comforted himself. It was not his fault that he was not loyal enough. It was just that the bargaining chip of this temptation was too big. In any case, he and Clay just met once. When he was in Europe, he saved him just on the way. Even if he was not kidnapped by those black men, Clay was going to kill them. That was a gang struggle between them. It had nothing to do with Song Bei. Besides, he didn't mistreat Clay. He had given him so much money. This money was enough. Even if he didn't go at the time, Song Bei gave the robbers the money, and those people were willing to let him go. The mobile phone text message came, and Song Bei quickly opened it. It was a picture sent by Clay, a screenshot of Google Maps. It showed that Clay had a car parts factory in the western suburbs of Yanjing. This car parts factory was closed in the last 6 months. It used to be a very good factory, and the annual tax was quite high. Later, it was said that the boss was involved in financing and financial management. In the end, he played miserably and threw all his wealth into it. Because he couldn't afford the money, the boss ran away, and the car parts factory was auctioned off by the government. No one knew what happened to the person who bought the factory. After the purchase, there was no news. The hundreds of workers had nothing to do, and no one paid them. In just half a year, this car parts factory, which was originally quite large, had become a deserted factory. But even if it was abandoned, the factory was still the private property of the buyer. It was said that the buyer did not want to make car parts and felt that there was no future. He wanted to transform the factory into a high-tech factory, and was discussing some projects in the United States. In any case, there was nothing left in the factory. Everything that could be moved away by the workers had already been moved away. The production tools that could be sold were sold, and the ones that could not be sold were smashed and sold as scrap metal. The entire project was completely ruined. Inside, there was only dust. Later on, there was a rumor that the original boss of the factory had committed suicide. His spirit refused to leave after returning to the factory, so the new boss of the factory did not dare to return. As a result, no one dared to go to this place on a normal day. No one was willing to provoke such bad luck. Song Bei quickly dialed Song Xiangxiong's phone. "Uncle, I've already contacted Clay, and I know where he is." Song Xiangxiong's eyes lit up. "Where is he? Tell me quickly." "Uncle, we have an agreement about the private jet. You can't go back on your words." Song Bei smiled and confirmed again. "I've always remembered. When are we going to see the jet?" "What I said must be counted," Song Xiangxiong said. "But now is not the time to talk about this. If someone else catches Clay one step ahead of you, then don't even think about getting your plane. You won't even have a penny in the future. I'll send you the location map now." Song Bei panicked when he heard this. After Song Xiangxiong got the map, he immediately called Crippled Tiger, a famous villain in Yanjing City. Although Crippled Tiger was crippled, he was ruthless enough and had a ruthless heart. There were a lot of messy things between him and Song Xiangxiong that could not be explained clearly. "Ahu, do me a favor." Song Xiangxiong smiled and said, "After it's done, you will benefit a lot. Remember to bring a few more brothers." "President Song, it seems that this is not a small matter. How many people do you need?" When Crippled Tiger received Song Xiangxiong's call, he knew that Song Xiangxiong had something to do with him. "Remove his arm or his leg." Song Xiangxiong gritted his teeth and said, "The other party is not easy to deal with. He may be an assassin. Bring as many brothers as you have. I don't want his arm or leg. I want his life. Ahu, don't worry. After it's done, I won't mistreat any of your brothers. Especially you, I won't mistreat you." Crippled Tiger smiled and said, "President Song, you're really powerful. You even provoked an assassin. Well, then I'll bring all my brothers who can fight and bring guns. I don't believe that we can't kill him. But after it's done, I'll have to ask for a price depending on the situation. When have I ever mistreated you? Don't you believe me?" Song Xiangxiong said, "Gather your men in 10 minutes. I'll wait for you at the entrance of the expressway to the western suburbs. Be quick." "Don't worry, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Crippled Tiger promised. This was a big sum of money. He must earn it. Just as Song Bei and Song Xiangxiong were talking, Su Yin had heard all the content. They had already made preparations. After all, Clay and Song Bei knew each other and were in contact. Therefore, they had monitored Song Bei's phone at the first moment. When Song Bei called Clay, because he hung up too quickly, he almost tracked down Clay's location. Obviously, Clay also knew how to control the time. He didn't tell Song Bei the address on the phone, but sent a picture to Song Bei. Song Bei also sent a picture to Song Xiangxiong. He didn't tell Song Xiangxiong the address on the phone. Therefore, Gong Sunlong was now fully hacking into Song Bei's mobile phone. He had to decode all the pictures in his mobile phone. This was the only way to find Clay's location. Attention everyone. Stay where you are. We have intercepted reliable information. Clay is hiding somewhere in Yanjing. Everyone, wait for the order to set off and surround the place immediately. Su Yan also issued an order. He had to capture Clay alive and find out all of his plots and machinations. Song Bei's mobile phone was really difficult to crack. Gong Sunlong used various mobile phone software to hack into it, but he found that there was basically no software that Song Bei authorized to see his mobile phone's photo album. When Gong Sunlong finally found the location of the mobile phone's photo album, he also found that there was a password. After cracking the password, Gong Sunlong was even more troubled. There were thousands of pictures in it. Almost all of them were pictures of various women, and things on the bed that couldn't see the light of day. It took Gong Sunlong a lot of effort to find the location map among the messy photos. Boss. Found it. Gong Sunlong quickly sent the picture to everyone's handheld terminal. Attention everyone. The target location has been sent to your handheld terminal. Now we have to rush to the auto parts factory in the western suburbs as fast as possible. Everyone be fully armed. The opponent is an assassin. You have to be careful. Su Yan gave the last order. Then he kept urging Qianfeng to drive the car so fast that it was almost flying. They had to get there as soon as possible. Otherwise, if Clay ran away, no one could bear the responsibility. Along the way, Qianfeng almost didn't lift the accelerator, let alone step on the brake. Fortunately, the evening rush hour had passed. This was the time when most people were drinking and eating, so Qianfeng had the opportunity to drive so fast. Like Su Yun and the other members of the special forces also rushed to the western suburbs as fast as they could. However, their original search direction was not as close as Su Yun's search direction to the west. It was estimated that they wouldn't be able to catch up with them no matter how fast they drove. Especially the Dragon Prestige Force, who was searching in the east, had to cross the city, so they couldn't speed up at all. In addition to the members of the special forces who were racing against time, Song Xiangxiong was also racing against time. Crippled Tiger brought people over very quickly. Song Xiangxiong drove in front and led the way. More than a dozen cars followed behind, majestically going to find trouble with Clay. As for Song Bei, after he was responsible for sending the information, he was in such a good mood that he wanted to book the whole bar. The bill of all the girls who came today was directly put on his head. Song Bei opened a bottle of the most expensive champagne and enjoyed himself. In the future, he would be the first among the brothers of the Song family to have a private jet. Ha ha ha, when the time comes, let's see if those people who are only willing to play with Song Dong will come and lick his toes. Chapter 1897. Generally speaking, the road conditions from Yanjing City to the western suburbs were not very good. After getting off the highway, the road was full of potholes and patches. This was largely due to the overloading of large transport vehicles and the shoddy construction of the road. There was a saying that went, golden bridges, silver roads, bronze ancient constructions. This was a commonly recognized metaphor for the hierarchy of benefits in the construction industry. Why were the benefits of road construction so high? Even higher than ancient constructions? Obviously, there were various unspoken rules involved. If a large transport vehicle that had been on the road for 20 years did not even have a single hole, would it still need to be repaired? Of course, it did not need to be repaired or rebuilt. If it was not rebuilt, who would be the ones losing? It would not be the interests of the people who would be lost. The people would be overjoyed. They would not have to take detours to go home. Moreover, the money for road construction could be used by the government for education and other public infrastructure projects. It was a good thing. However, there was no profit to be made from education. Therefore, a certain type of people liked to build roads and bridges. If there was no opportunity, They would create an opportunity to build a bridge. They would dig a hole in a good piece of land and call it an artificial lake. Then they would build a bridge across the lake. This kind of thing was very common in Huaxia. It was a project that many leaders liked. Yes, this kind of project had many benefits. The reason was that it could be used as a flood relief area in case of a flood, and it could be used as a reservoir in case of a drought. Anyway, there were all kinds of reasons. The funny thing was that these places, which were well prepared for rainy days, never had any droughts or floods. On the contrary, those places that really had droughts and floods could not find a solution for a long time. Wasn't this obviously a joke? The road in the western suburbs was very bumpy. Because Song Xiangxiong was in a hurry, he drove very fast. The bumpy road made him want to pee. However, time waited for no one. Song Xiangxiong knew the meaning of time. Fortunately, the yellow sky did not disappoint those who waited. After more than an hour of rushing, Song Xiangxiong finally arrived at the car parts factory with Crippled Tiger and the others. The interior of the factory looked very desolate. The original gardens were all overgrown with weeds, and the dust on the cement floor would emit dust when stepped on. Because of the sky, some of the originally faint footprints on the ground were difficult to notice. Clay. Song Xiangxiong called out cautiously, but there was no response from the spacious factory. Crippled Tiger had more than 20 brothers who were good at fighting. They were armed with imitation Type 54 pistols, and all kinds of controlled knives. They were paid to eliminate disasters. As long as they saw their targets, they had to kill them. Lame Tiger was determined to earn this huge sum of money. I'm here to save you. Song Xiangxiong raised his voice slightly. Clay, I was arranged by your friend Song Bei to come and pick you up. Where are you? Let's get out of here. It's not safe anymore. We'll send you out of Beijing. Don't waste any more time. Song Xiangxiong was very anxious, but he still didn't get a reply from Clay. Song Xiangxiong gestured to Crippled Tiger to have his men spread out and search every corner of the factory, from the office building to the factory. Everyone get moving. Don't let Director Song get anxious. Crippled Tiger ordered. Find him immediately. There will be a reward if you find him. A group of men who had followed Crippled Tiger and never suffered any losses began to move. They went to different places in twos and threes. Song Xiangxiong was still testing the other party with words. Clay, don't test us anymore. If we wanted to harm you, we wouldn't have to do it ourselves. Think about it. There are so many people in Huaxia looking for you. If we wanted to harm you, we just need to tell them where you are. Since we're here, we want to save you. Brother, we don't have time to waste. Director Song has good intentions. Crippled Tiger also said, don't dawdle. If you don't leave now, it'll be too late. You don't want to die here, right? Our car is outside. Come out, we'll leave immediately. The two of them shouted back and forth for 10 minutes, but there was no response at all. Song Xiangxiong felt that something was wrong. Could it be that Clay had tricked Song Bei? Damn it. Song Xiangxiong quickly dialed Song Bei's number. Song Bei was drinking happily. When he saw the call, he thought that his uncle had solved Clay's problem. He hurriedly picked up the phone. Uncle, how is it? Did you find him? Find my ass. That guy must be tricking you. There's no one at all. Song Xiangxiong scolded unhappily. Song Bei was stunned. Impossible. Uncle, don't worry. Maybe he's not sure and doesn't dare to come out. I'll call him right away. I'll call him and ask him to meet you. Song Bei hurriedly hung up Song Xiangxiong's phone and began to contact Clay. This was related to his private jet. He would never be careless about this matter. It had to be solved. Just when Song Xiangxiong was about to give up, a phone call from a corner of the empty factory lifted everyone's spirits. Crippled Tiger was energized. He was the first to rush over. Song Xiangxiong followed closely behind. Although one of them was a little lame and the other was old, they were not slow when they ran. The phone call came from an office. When they broke in, the first thing they saw was Clay, who was dead in the room. He died very miserably. It was not a gunshot wound, nor a knife wound. He was beaten alive and suffocated with an arm around his neck. His whole body was bleeding from all 7 orifices. Seeing such a cruel scene, Song Xiangxiong was a little scared. Although he had never seen Clay, he knew that Clay was a European. Song Bei had also told him about his general appearance. So he was sure that this person was Clay. Crippled Tiger saw that this guy died so miserably and couldn't help but frown. I say, President Song, this is the killer? Heh, it seems that he has other enemies besides you. The money that I just got my hands on is going to fly away. Song Xiangxiong was not in the mood to talk. Who killed this Clay? President Song, our brothers have worked hard even if they didn't make any contributions. You should at least show some appreciation, right? Crippled Tiger saw that Song Xiangxiong didn't say anything. His subordinates also rushed to their office from all directions. The target was dead. This was not a good thing for them. People inside, listen up. You have been surrounded. This sudden shout almost scared Crippled Tiger out of his wits. Song Xiangxiong was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. What the hell was going on? They didn't know that just as they parked their car and walked into the factory, Su Yin had already brought people over. A few minutes later, the people from the various special forces arrived. They took advantage of the time when Song Xiangxiong was looking for people to surround the entire factory. Crippled Tiger grabbed Song Xiangxiong and directly took out the fake Type 54 pistol from his waist and pointed it at Song Xiangxiong's head. President Song, King set me up. This has nothing to do with me. Song Xiangxiong was anxious and scared. He really didn't know what to do. You asked me to gather my brothers here. We were surrounded as soon as we arrived, and someone died inside. How can I believe you? Crippled Tiger couldn't wait to shoot Song Xiangxiong, but he was surrounded. Song Xiangxiong was more or less a hostage. Crippled Tiger was so nervous because he had a guilty conscience. He had done too many bad things. Any one of them was enough to sentence him to death. It was just that the police didn't have any evidence. Now, no matter how he looked at it, he felt that the police had set him up. I have a hostage. Don't try to scare me. Crippled Tiger wasn't afraid. He dragged Song Xiangxiong out of the room. You set me up. You can't accuse me of murder without evidence. When Crippled Tiger and a group of brothers walked out, they realized that the other party wasn't the police at all. The police wouldn't wear such clothes. These people were dressed as if they were in a war. What kind of people were they? When Su Yin saw Crippled Tiger holding Song Xiangxiong, he knew that they were a group of people. Crippled Tiger's words, "You set me up. You can't accuse me of murder without evidence," made Su Yin very uneasy. We don't want to save the hostage in your hands. Su Yin said coldly. Put down your weapon and you'll have a chance to live. Otherwise, if you dare to move, I can give the order to kill you. I don't even need to attack to deal with you. My snipers only need 10 seconds to take care of all of you. Do you believe me or not? Crippled Tiger had been scared since he was a child. A few words couldn't do anything to him. He directly shouted at Su Yin, I don't believe you. Get rid of his gun. Su Yin wasn't afraid of people who dared to shout at him. If he didn't show him what strength was, he wouldn't be honest. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.